Chapter 432. Oh my god. Did I find out some big secret? Senior sure actually likes women. And the one he likes is Sister E. So here's the problem. He likes Sister E but Sister E likes someone else. Doesn't this mean that we're back to the Matryoshka doll mode? A love triangle within a love triangle? It turns out that the one suffering the most is Senior sure. Beneath his glamorous appearance was a sad man who cried silently in the middle of the night. Fu Jian's gaze towards Shui gradually turned sympathetic. He boldly patted Shui's shoulder and said, Senior, it's not easy for you either. Shui was confused. On the other side. After breakfast, Annan began to discuss work matters with Xianxia. This time Xianxia was invited to save the day. A popular male celebrity who was originally invited couldn't participate for some reason, so the director of the program decided on Xianxia at the last minute. Good girl, I'll go with you for the next 2 days. That program is really tiring, you have to be mentally prepared, Annan said earnestly, wishing that he could take Xianxia's place and suffer in her place. Xianxia said calmly, do you want to eat dumplings? Wrap them up with meat, vegetables and other delicacies and chill them for dinner? Annan was speechless. I'll eat. Okay, sit down and wait for me. Xianxia went into the kitchen and busied herself while Annan sat obediently on the small stool. He felt that he wasn't on a field trip, but a public trip with free meals. After the dumplings were wrapped, Annan took on the task of packing them while Si Chuanbai helped him. Xianxia simply packed her luggage and pulled it to the bedroom door. Shui naturally took it from her. The man was tall and had long legs, so the height of the suitcase was a little low for him. He lifted it to the highest point and barely reached a comfortable position. I'll send you out, he said. Xianxia nodded and walked out while giving him some trivial instructions. Don't feed Xiao Naofu too many snacks, it's time to lose weight. There are still leftover fish balls and dumplings in the freezer. You can make steamed dumplings and curry fish balls with Director Li and the others. Also, the fish tank I bought will arrive in the afternoon. Uncle Wang will send the fish over then. Please take good care of them for me. Shui listened quietly, occasionally nodding to indicate that she was listening. The road to the gate was very long, but it also seemed very short. Shui put the luggage into the trunk with one hand. Xianxia inexplicably felt a kind of sadness of parting. So this is what it feels like to leave someone important. She thought in a daze. When her brothers left, did they also have such a feeling of loss? Shui's words pulled her back to reality. Sister, you have a safe trip. Xianxia blinked. You should also take care of yourself. I will. I'll be back as soon as I'm done with work. Xianxia scratched her palm with her fingers, feeling a little itchy and uneasy. Whatever you want to eat, I'll make it for you. Shui stared at her with a gloomy gaze. Seemingly having thought of something, he smirked and asked, You can eat whatever I want? Yes. Then, it's a deal. His deep voice was warm and pleasant, making Shui's heart skip a beat. Sister E, you can't go back on your word. Xianxia's face was pale and she said with a solemn expression, I won't. Afraid that Shui wouldn't believe her, she stretched out her finger and said, We can pinky swear. Shui chuckled and was about to pinky swear with her when Jiang Jujio yelled hysterically behind them. Ah, you're not allowed to hold hands. No. Chapter 433. Xianxia inexplicably had a guilty conscience. She retracted her hand and hid it behind her back. Jiang Jujio didn't even change out of her bare-eared nightgown as she scurried over and stood between the two of them. How can you hold a man's hand? Xianxia said, No, I didn't, I just want to pinky swear with him. You want to touch a man's hand? Jiang Jujio's interrogative tone made Xianxia dumbfounded. Although there's no causal relationship between pinky swear and touching hands, it seems to be parallel? Jiang Jujio glanced around uneasily and said, No. Shui chuckled softly. He realized that Jiang Jujio really didn't know how to lie. Her body language and body language all betrayed her. As her best friend, Jiang Jujio of course could tell too. She stomped her feet in anger and exclaimed, You're not pure at all. Xianxia pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Epsilon Shui said gently, Miss Jiang, Sister E is about to set off. Jiang Jujio snapped out of her trance and asked aggrievedly, Why didn't you wake me up? Xianxia said, I saw that you were sleeping soundly so I didn't wake you up. However, I've left you some breakfast. It's in the fridge. You can eat it after heating it up. It's your favorite fish balls. Jiang Jiujiu's resentment instantly vanished because of Xiangyi's words. Her ears were red and she tapped the ground with the tip of her foot. Pretending to be indifferent, she said, "So you still remember my preferences? I've always remembered that your favorite meat is fish, your favorite vegetable is kale, and your favorite fruit is mango." Jiang Juju listened for a long time and was satisfied. She then pretended to say, Okay, I didn't ask you that much." After saying that, she glanced at Shi Sui from the corner of her eyes. Shi Sui didn't get angry and simply smiled politely. In contrast, Jiang Juju seemed like an unreasonable child who was looking for trouble. Jiang Juju was mature, steady, and magnanimous. Jiang Juju was speechless. Scheming dog. Anan and Sichuanbai also came out. "Be good, we should go," Anan reminded. The filming started in the afternoon, and they still had to do their makeup and hair when they arrived. After all, National Mass Workout wasn't as casual as two under one roof. Only then did Jiang Juju slowly take out a pink purse from her pocket. "Here, this is a peace talisman that I casually asked for. No, it's a free gift that I gave to others when I asked for one. You don't have to take it to heart. It's not something valuable. Just throw it away if you don't like it." Although he spoke proudly, his hands were trembling slightly. He was afraid that Xiangyi would refuse. Xiangyi took it and carefully put it in her pocket. She patted her pocket and said in a gentle voice, "Juju, I will keep it well." Jiang Juju felt a lump in her throat and she looked away. "Leave then, don't say goodbye to me. I hate hearing those words." Xiangyi tilted her head and thought about it before suddenly giving Jiang Juju a hug. She gently patted Jiang Juju's back. "See you next time then." Jiang Juju's eyes turned red. "You're a man of your word. Whoever stands you up is a dog." "Okay." Fu Jiyan, who came out to join in the fun, was even more confused. Why is there another pair of romance lines? So, it's a love triangle within a love triangle and then a love quadrangle. Sichuanbai steadily parked the car at the filming location. In the dressing room, a woman's disgruntled voice sounded. Chapter 434. Are you kidding me? What right does that woman have to film the show? Does she deserve to be in the same frame as me? Your production team is really funny. Of all people, why did you hire a D-lister? Another person who seemed to be a staff member said in a humble tone, Sister Yen is right. Teacher Su, please bear with us. You'll regret it sooner or later. She's a troublemaker. If she causes any trouble, don't expect me to clean it up for her." When she was almost done venting, a sweet and soft voice sounded like the spring breeze in March. Okay, don't make things difficult for her. I'll just be more careful." The staff member was relieved and wiped the sweat off his forehead. "Thank you, Teacher Su. You're so nice." Sister Yen said, "Forget it, I won't say anything else. Give us the mission card for this episode in advance." Well, the staff member was a little hesitant. According to the rules, they couldn't reveal it to the guests, but when he saw the beautiful face of the young woman in front of him, he was momentarily bewitched. "Okay then, I'll send you the electronic version later. Remember, don't spread it." "You're so nice. Thank you, let's add each other on WeChat. I'll treat you to a meal when I'm free." "What? A superstar actually wants to add a lowly staff member like me?" The man suppressed his excitement and scanned the QR code to add Su to me on WeChat. The three of them walked to Xiangyi's exclusive dressing room. Anan pursed his lips and said, "Isn't she just playing the good cop and bad cop? Be careful with your words." Sichuanbai looked at Xiangyi and said, "Miss Xiang, it's better to stay away from such people." Xiangyi nodded. Anan's eyes widened. "But she's obviously bad-mouthing Xiangwan. Are we going to keep tolerating it?" Sichuanbai said, "There's no practical point in being sharp-tongued." Anan knew that he had a point, but his cheeks were still puffed up with anger. Sichuanbai pressed the space between his eyebrows helplessly. "The jewelry brand that Su Tumi previously endorsed is about to expire. Do you think it's better for us to go over and scold her now and get provoked or snatch the endorsement deal for Miss Yang?" Anan was speechless. "What?" he whispered. "Mr. C, you seem to be the villain in a movie." Sichuanbai raised his eyebrows. This was the first time someone had described him this way. Sichuanbai patted Anan's head of colorful hair and said a few words before leaving. Anan stayed behind and accompanied Xiangyi to wait for the makeup artist and stylist. But even after waiting for a long time, there was still no sign of anyone. Anan reacted and stood up with a whoosh. *CK, you're using this kind of elementary school trick? How shameless. In the entertainment industry, it was very common for competitors to trip each other up. It was his negligence that he didn't think that there would be such a despicable trick. Meanwhile, the stylist was carefully styling Su Tumi's hair. She said carefully, "Teacher Su, your hairline is a little high, why don't I put on a few pieces of wig for you?" Su Tumi casually played with the manicure that she had just done while Sister Yen retorted, "How can you say that? Our decadent beauty is the Barbie of the world." Stylist. Barbie dolls don't have bald heads. However, she only dared to criticize in her heart and didn't have the guts to say it out loud. After a few seconds, Su Tumi said, "Make me have more hair than Xianxia, understand?" Chapter 435. The stylist said, Su Tumi asked, "Why? Is there a problem?" "There's more than just a problem, there's a huge problem." The stylist had watched Two Under One Roof before, so she could tell at a glance whether Xianxia had any makeup or hair done. She had an amazing amount of hair which was fluffy, smooth, black and tough. Regardless of whether she tied it into a bun or let it down casually, she would still look good. To reach her level, it wasn't something that could be done with wigs. The stylist tactfully said that she might have to wear a wig. She initially thought that Su Tumi would give up, but to her surprise, Su Tumi raised her hand and Sister Yen took out several wigs of different colors and lengths from her large backpack. The stylist thought, "That works too?" Su Tumi's makeup and hair took more than 3 hours to complete. The girl in the mirror had long chestnut-colored curly hair and exquisite clear makeup. The pumpkin-colored eyeshadow made her beautiful eyes look exceptionally lively. The stylist already felt that she was beautiful enough, but she didn't expect Su Tumi to be unsatisfied at all. She even suggested that she change the makeup artist and stylist. In the end, even the assistant director was alarmed and personally came over to coax her for a long time. He promised that he would edit Su Tumi's photos frame by frame in post-production. Only then did Su Tumi reluctantly agree to record. The assistant director wiped his sweat and secretly lamented in his heart, "Su Tumi is really hard to please." However, she was indeed popular and capable. She had won the Best Actress award at the age of 23, and she had a strong family background too. Even he didn't dare to offend her easily. Hence, he had no choice but to coax her. "By the way, where's Xianxia? Is she not done yet?" The assistant director couldn't help but feel a little frustrated after being angered by Su Tumi. In fact, he didn't want to invite Xianxia, but for some reason the director and scriptwriter decided to do it after watching Two Under One Roof for 5 minutes. It was simply unreasonable. One had to know that Xianxia didn't even have a single piece of work that she was proud of, yet she was constantly on the hot search list. Her brother and grandparents were on the hot search list. Wasn't it all because she was born into a good family? The assistant director looked down on Xianxia from the bottom of his heart. With the first impression, he instinctively vented his anger on Xianxia. The assistant hurried over and came back saying, "The dressing room is empty. Teacher Xianxia is not in." The assistant director flew into a rage. What is she doing in the dressing room? What? Was he going to throw his weight around and leave? Then let her go. Does she really think that our show can't survive without her? The assistant said obsequiously, "I heard that the stylist and makeup artist arranged for Teacher Xianxia suddenly fell ill and couldn't come. Could it be because of this?" The assistant director choked and quickly flew into a rage out of humiliation. Then wouldn't she have brought her own stylist and makeup artist? If he didn't even have this bit of adaptability, how could he survive in this industry? Why doesn't she reflect on herself? Why do other artists have to find trouble with her? The assistant. He didn't agree with the other party's point of view, but he didn't dare to refute, so he chose to keep his mouth shut. However, the more the assistant director thought about it, the angrier he got. Xianxia just comes from a wealthy family, but she doesn't have any abilities at all. How dare she throw her weight around? Tell her that if she doesn't appear in front of me within 5 minutes, she doesn't have to come," the assistant director said sternly. In the next second, someone ran over while panting heavily. Is Teacher Su not ready yet? Teacher Xiang has been waiting at the filming location for a long time." Chapter 436. In an instant, the assistant director's face changed from green to red. It was an exciting scene. The assistant next to him secretly laughed and pretended to be surprised. What? Teacher Xianxi's stylist and makeup artist didn't come, did they? The assistant director caught hold of her weakness and questioned. She went barefaced? What does she take National Mass Workout for? It's not a casual show like Two Under One Roof. Artists like her who don't know how to respect others should be banned. The errand keeper was dumbfounded. Is that so? But teacher Xianxi's hair and makeup are very beautiful. There's a man with colorful hair next to her who is helping her touch up her makeup. The assistant said, "Oh, that should be her manager." The assistant director was dumbfounded. Why does the manager know how to do this? Is he trying to steal teacher Tony's job? His expression was ugly and he was still stubborn. How good can the makeup done by a manager be? I'll go take a look. If it's not up to standard, it'll have to be redone. Everyone at the scene suddenly fell silent, knowing that he was going to cause trouble. The assistant was indignant. It'll take at least an hour or two to redo. Isn't he just deliberately making things difficult for her? However, his words carried little weight and he couldn't say anything. He secretly sighed and prayed in his heart, I hope Anan's skills aren't too bad so that Xianxia won't be scolded too much. The filming location was Nanqing Gymnasium. The production team had contacted them in advance and there was an area in the gymnasium that was specially cleared today. In order to promote various sports, the production team divided the process into 2 rounds. The first round was to accumulate points through the sports competition, and those with high points would receive rewards that could be used in the second round. The second round was an all-member competition that had many forms, such as tearing off name tags, catching criminals and so on. In this round, they could use the props or various special cards obtained in the previous round. The first round of the day was archery. In order to make it more interesting, the production team used the method of drawing lots to choose different bows. There were professional recurve bows and cartoon plastic bows for comedic effect. The filming had yet to begin and the scene was chaotic and noisy. However, it was almost effortless to see Xianxia in the crowd. The young girl's hair was permed into an egg curl and she wore a large red bow on her head, which made her milky white face look even more exquisite. At first glance it looked like she was barefaced, but in fact she was scheming. The base makeup was clear and flawless and the eye makeup was delicate and gentle. There was no heavy makeup on her red lips, but it highlighted Xianxi's good looks very well. She was unbelievably beautiful. The assistant director was stunned. He had never seen Xianxia in person before and the shock he felt at this moment was immense. That face seemed to be born for the camera. Every move was casual and lazy, but it was captivating. Coincidentally, Su Tumi and Sister Yan also came over. Due to Su Tumi's status, the staff nearby hurriedly took the initiative to greet her. As soon as the assistant director turned his head, he saw Su Tumi, who seemed to be exuding an exquisite aura from head to toe. However, there was really no comparison. Makeup was ultimately just a superficial appearance. However, beauty lies in one's bones, not in one's appearance. Xianxia, who had an excellent bone structure, could really defeat Su Tumi with just a little makeup. The assistant director had never felt that his face hurt so much before. Su Tumi stared at Xianxia with her fists clenched. Why does she have so much hair? Chapter 437. Seeing Xianxi's thick and lustrous hair, Su Tumi's eyes turned red with envy. When she was a child she had quite a lot of hair, but ever since she entered the industry she had to go through a lot of styling and perming. Ordinary people would have their hair damaged after perming and dyeing it 2 or 3 times, let alone perming and dyeing it frequently. Coupled with the stress of work and lack of sleep, Su Tumi became more and more popular and earned more and more money. However, her hair also became thinner and her hairline receded rapidly. Her head could be broken and she could bleed, but she would rather die than lift her bangs. Sister Yan went against her conscience and said, "Indeed, an amateur is an amateur. You can't compare to Decady at all. Decady, you're in such a good state today. Let me tell you, after this episode is broadcast, you're going to gain a large number of fans for your looks. Oh, she's really pretentious. Who is she trying to bluff with a bow and arrow?" Not far away, Xianxia was picking up a cool black recurve bow. Her body was leaning sideways, standing tall and straight, but her shoulders were turned to face the front of the arrow path. She slowly put an arrow on the bow and slowly pulled the bowstring with a clang. She hit the bullseye. 10th ring. The number automatically popped up on the electronic display screen. Cheers and gasps of shock filled the air. Damn. He's so cool, so cool. Are you kidding me? Are you a professional here to torture scum? Oh my god, Xianxia is so impressive. She hit the bullseye with one arrow. Sister Yen was speechless. 10th ring? Are you a damn celebrity or a national team player? While she was in a daze, Tumi brushed her hair and walked towards Xianxia aggressively in her white shoes. By the time Sister Yen reacted, Tumi had already walked towards Xianxia, scaring her so much that she broke out in cold sweat. Although Tumi was a troublemaker, she was very disdainful of scheming and scheming. She didn't put on airs either and often added everyone on WeChat. In Sister Yan's opinion, she was a little too arrogant and silly. Hence she often played some tricks openly and secretly. On the surface, she deliberately asked for the mission card in advance today. On the surface, she secretly bribed Xianxi's makeup artist and stylist. If they got into a conflict in public, it would be bad for public relations. Sister Yen hurriedly chased after her. Xianxia tried the bow and found that it was still there, so she put it down. Suddenly, there was a sweet fruity aroma beside her. Xianxia sniffed lightly and distinguished the smell of sea salt, sage and persimmon. Bright and sweet. She turned around and looked at Tumi. Tumi's tone was aggressive, but the words that she blurted out made Xianxia stunned. What brand of shampoo are you using? Xianxia, ? And what's the brand of conditioner, hair mask, essential oil and comb? Xianxia. In Tumi's eyes, her blank expression was a silent provocation. Hey, are you going to say that you don't take care of your hair at all? Tumi sneered. Do you think I'll believe you? Humph. Forget it if you don't want to say it. I'll find the brand you're using sooner or later. Xianxia. I forgot some of the brands. Let me look for online orders. Do you need a link? Tumi. Yes. By the time Sister Yen trotted over, she realized that the two of them had added each other as friends and were still discussing a topic that confused her. I'll buy it tomorrow. I think I can get 300 to 30 yuan. Sure, you can add on the category coupons and VIP discounts. You can save even more. Really? You're so good at math. Sister Yan's head was filled with question marks. Are you women who lack money? Chapter 438. Sometimes the friendship between girls can really be described as magical. Clearly, they could call each other sisters when they met for the first time, and best friends who had been playing with each other for years would also let each other call each other daddy. Collecting and stocking up is a human instinct, and shopping is a woman's joy. Sister Yen originally thought that Tumi would get into a conflict with Xianxia, but she never expected the two of them to be so harmonious. Tumi placed a few orders and was satisfied. She blinked at Xianxia and said, If I have anything useful in the future, I'll recommend it to you too. Xianxia smiled and continued to play with her bow and arrow. Sister Yen hurriedly pulled Tumi to the side and said, Tumi, you have to be careful. What if she accidentally shoots you? Tumi said impatiently. Okay, got it. Sister Yen instructed, when the official recording begins later, stay away from her. You're the main guest for this episode, so she won't get too much screen time. Besides, we still have the mission card. Don't worry, Tumi will definitely come in first place this time. Tumi rolled her eyes and said, Can I shoot an arrow? No. Can I run? Neither would he. How can I come in first place? Sister Yen was speechless. What are you talking about? On the other side, the director organized a short meeting. What? Change the main guest? Change the gameplay? When he heard the screenwriter's suggestion, the assistant director couldn't accept it at all. The previous plan for this episode was quite good. It's not appropriate to suddenly change it now. The director was calm and collected. He picked up the thermos and drank a mouthful of goji berry water before saying indifferently, Didn't you see the scene of her shooting the arrow just now? What does a variety show need? The assistant director was originally displeased with Xianxia. Once a person is prejudiced, everything the other party does is wrong. He said straightforwardly, She's not suitable. Our production team has never changed the main guest to the one with the lowest status. If we change it this time, who knows how the netizens will criticize our show. You know that the netizens nowadays will boycott whenever they want. I believe everyone doesn't want the reputation of the show that we've painstakingly built to be ruined because of a mistake in decision-making, right? The director looked at him deeply and didn't criticize him. Instead, he answered his own question. What a variety show needs is a joke, a highlight and a thrill. With these three one could rule the world. I think Xianxia has the potential to be the main guest. The scriptwriter added, that's right. That's why I suggest that we use the same strategy as in the video game. We should highlight Xianxia for this episode and let her give the show a different soul. The assistant director was speechless. He felt that the two of them had gone crazy. It's up to you, he said stiffly. If it doesn't work, don't blame me for not warning you. The director, scriptwriter, and the others discussed the new game rules and plans in low voices. The assistant director felt indignant. Just wait, they will definitely regret it. Instead of using Su Tumi as the main guest, they went to replace her with an inexplicable woman. It was simply unreasonable. He hadn't realized that he had been ignored by the core members. The official recording began. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's National Mass Workout. I'm your good friend Xiao Yao. The host was the resident MC Wang Yao, who had acted in many family dramas and was very well known among the middle-aged and elderly. First of all, let's welcome our sister Xianxia. Outside the venue, Sister Yan's expression changed instantly. Chapter 439. There was an unwritten rule in National Mass Workout, that the first flying guest to be queued would be the main guest of the episode. As the name implied, the main guest would have the most screen time, and even an A-list celebrity wouldn't mind less exposure. Hence, the main guest was a must-have for every episode. Of course, the program team had a high degree of freedom and could choose whoever they wanted. However, Sister Yan had already tacitly agreed that Su Tumi was the main guest, but she didn't expect Xianxia to be the main guest. It was just like a cooked duck that had flown into the mouth of a detestable person. The several seniors invited for this episode were more relaxed and didn't intend to fight for it. Another popular young hunk and a popular web drama actress looked at each other but didn't say anything. Su Tumi yawned in front of everyone's eyes. Sister Yan was speechless. Are you sleepy at this time? How can a child of your age fall asleep? After announcing the guest list, Wang Yao announced the rules of the first round. They would first draw lots and shoot arrows according to the bow they drew. Each person could shoot 10 arrows and the person with the highest total score would be in first place. I now announce that the National Mass Workout has begun. Wang Yao said with a grin. Jokes aside, the people present were all celebrities and they couldn't possibly be as obedient as primary school students. Before they drew lots, everyone was chatting, drinking water, studying the target and discussing the bow. It was a mess. Wang Yao complained incessantly, everyone please cooperate with me. If you don't, I'll be fired. He had a humble character in National Mass Workout, and was known as the host who couldn't control the situation in the entire entertainment industry. The netizens would always despise him while laughing. The variety show was quite effective. Xianxia took the lead to draw lots. Wang Yao asked mysteriously, Sister E, what did you draw? Is it a recurve bow? I think you'll definitely look super cool with a recurve bow. It's not a recurve bow, but it should be cool too, Xianxia said confidently as if she had drawn a god-level weapon. In the next second she picked up the only cartoon plastic pink bow and arrow on the scene and calmly pulled the bowstring. The girl stood upright and in a standard posture, but the more serious she was, the funnier she seemed. The director sitting behind the camera couldn't help but laugh out loud. The seated player had drawn a cartoon bow and arrow, which was a joke of its own. Soon after, the others also drew horn bows, crossbows and hilarious slingshots. However, the most amazing thing was that Su Tumi had drawn the most professional recurve bow. The camera caught her dumbfounded expression. Su Tumi carefully picked up the bow and pretended to shoot an arrow. She raised her chin proudly and asked the person beside her, "Does my bow look good?" "Yes." Xianxia happened to be beside her. "If you hold it like this, it'll look even better." She was at the back and raised her hand to help Su Tumi adjust the way she held the recurve bow. From a certain perspective, it seemed as if Xianxia was holding Su Tumi in her arms. The assistant director could not help but say, "What nonsense is Xianxia doing? Jun Han and Su Tumi should be the ones acting in such an idle drama." Director, the weather is really good. Screenwriter, drink more hot water. Assistant director, is there something wrong with these two? Why are they not answering the question? A living person like him was talking. Were they deaf? Chapter 440. Little did she know that when the staff saw this scene, especially the girls, they wished they could shriek like groundhogs. Who would have thought that the combination of soft girl x sweet girl would be so easy to fall in love with? Did I make it clear? Xianxia asked softly. Su Tumi pursed her lips and said, It's all right. She pulled the bowstring and was about to release it, but Xianxia pressed her hand down. There was a warning in her eyes. You can't release an empty string, you'll hurt your hand easily. Anam was very good at makeup. He used a brush to gently brush some blush on the tip of Xiangyi's nose, making her look rather pitiful. With such a beautiful face, even if she was a little fierce, she would still be unbelievably beautiful, making it impossible for others to get angry at her. Su Tumi froze for a moment and said awkwardly, Why are you being so fierce? Although she said this, she still listened to Xiangyi and slowly let go of her hand, releasing her strength. The assistant director muttered, What's the matter with those girls? What's there to be excited about? The director smiled without saying anything. Everyone took turns to shoot. Apart from the young hunk who shot the 7th ring, the others all shot the 3rd ring and 4th ring amateurishly. Some even missed the target. Xiangyi was undoubtedly the most eye-catching. She was given the lightest cartoon bow, so logically speaking she shouldn't have had any advantage. However, she pulled the string and released the arrow smoothly. 9th ring. Everyone was speechless. You're not holding a plastic bow, you're actually holding an epic artifact, right? Another funny person was Su Tumi. Her archery posture was taught by Xiangyi and she learned it very well. At first glance she looked very intimidating. However, she would either shoot the 1st or 2nd ring every time. After finally hitting the yellow center, Su Tumi was so excited that she jumped on the spot. I hit it. Sister Yen, who was watching her jump outside the field, was so worried that she would throw the wig away. Xiangyi's gentle voice reminded him, You're shooting at my target. Su Tumi's smile froze and gradually disappeared. Ha ha ha. The director laughed again. The staff couldn't help but laugh. They could almost imagine how much the netizens who saw this scene would laugh in front of their screens. It was the 10th arrow's turn. Xiangyi was already far ahead. She deserved to be first place with a total score of 81 points. She pulled the bowstring and her doe eyes narrowed slightly. Her long eyelashes cast beautiful shadows, and her jawline was exquisite and superior. The nylon bowstring touched the girl's cherry-colored lips as if offering a kiss. Then she suddenly let go. Swish. Bang. 2 loud sounds rang out. A bright red number popped up on the LCD screen. 10 points. There was an uproar in the crowd. Xiangyi had actually hit the bullseye with a cartoon plastic bow. However, what was with the second sound just now? A staff member came forward to check the situation. A moment later he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Teacher Xiangyi hit the center of the bullseye, which is the 10th ring of the 10 rings. The pinhole camera's screen shattered. Everyone. An arrow had shattered the camera screen? Even the screenwriter wouldn't dare to write the script like that. Xiangyi said apologetically, I'm sorry, I'll compensate for it. The director waved his hand and said, No need, the effect of this segment is very good. Sister E, you're the light of variety shows. Tell the post-production team that I'll edit it myself. There was another uproar at the scene. As a top variety show director in the industry, he didn't need to personally monitor the post-production, let alone edit it. Sister E Rizabai. Chapter 441. The nicer the director was to Xiangyi, the more sullen the assistant director's expression was. Is this considered a slap to my face in public? He's going against me because he doesn't think highly of Xiangyi. At the end of the first round of the competition, Xiangyi came in first place and received a mysterious prop as well as a small gold medal. She opened it and looked at it before putting it back in her pocket indifferently. As for Su Tumi, she came in last place and didn't get anything at all. She might even be scolded by the audience when the program is broadcast in the future. At the thought of the anti-fans who called her bald previously, Su Tumi felt extremely aggrieved and she became listless like a frosted eggplant. All of a sudden, a golden figure appeared in front of her. This is for you, Xiangyi said casually. She was usually very tolerant of good-looking people. Besides, Su Tumi looked like she was about to cry. Be it because of her upbringing or because she was obsessed with good looks, Xiangyi couldn't remain indifferent. Su Tumi sniffled and asked in a childish voice, Are you really giving it to me? Yes. Xiangyi nodded. The truth was that she left in a hurry today and forgot to bring some candy. She felt a little regretful that she couldn't use her ancestral skills to give out candy. Su Tumi glanced at the medal, looked at her toes and glanced at the medal again. She did it several times and vividly expressed her desire to take it but was too embarrassed to do so. Xianxia seemed to have seen through her and stuffed the medal into her hand. I'll go pull out the arrow. Su Tumi stared at her back in shock. The arrows that they shot out previously were still crooked on the target and there were so many of them that pulling out the arrows became a laborious task. However, it seemed to be a piece of cake for Xianxia. She gently pulled the arrow out with her fair and slender hand. The popular hunk also came over to try but in the end he was stunned and couldn't pull it out at all. He only succeeded after using all his strength. The corners of Su Tumi's mouth curled up and she put the medal into her pocket properly. The filming came to an end. The second round of the mission was set to be a real-life counterattack, so they had to change the venue. The artists got into their respective nanny vans and raced against time to rest. Sister Yen was still trying to brainwash Su Tumi. Tumi, that Xianxia is obviously up to no good. She just wants to ride on your coattails. Think about it. If a man were to do the act of gifting a gold medal, wouldn't it be greasy? Don't tell me she's trying to set herself up as the alpha leader or something. Don't be fooled by her. Su Tumi fiddled with the small gold medal. The props made by the production team were quite exquisite and it seemed to be made of real gold. She said absent-mindedly, "Don't you think she and I are fated? Sister Yen. My anti-fans scolded me for being bald. Her nickname is Rabbit. Look, this is simply fate." Sister Yen was speechless. Hey, do you know she really smells good? Her hair smells good, her clothes smell good and her body smells good too. No, I have to ask her what kind of body lotion she uses. Su Tumi lowered her head and sent Xianxia a WeChat message. Sister Yen was speechless. Fine, I shouldn't have had any expectations for this silly girl. She shouldn't have had any. Everyone rushed to the venue of the real-life counterattack and rested for a while. The popular hunk and Su Tumi's fans had all prepared support food trucks. One of them had snacks such as fried chicken and curried fish balls, while the other had drinks such as lemonade and milk tea. There were cheers at the scene. When one is tired from work, food is the best way to heal one. The assistant director ate the fish balls in big mouthfuls and complained in a muffled voice, "Tisk, that person doesn't even have a support team. She's really miserable." Before he could finish. Chapter 442. Someone exclaimed, "Wow, there are so many food trucks. Which teacher's fan is this?" The assistant director smacked his lips and said, "They're probably fans of a few seniors. Anyway, it can't be Xianxi's fan. It'd be weird if she had one, huh?" No one agreed. In the silence, his laughter sounded especially ear-piercing. Whoosh! The food trucks were arranged nicely. There were coffee, sandwiches and small cakes. The most amazing thing was that there was even a barbecue truck. Everyone. Barbecue on the spot. Whose fan support is this? What a grand display. The crew members whispered among themselves. On every dining car, there was a small colorful flag in a conspicuous position. On the flag there were 4 words printed on it, "Spicy Tutu." Spicy Tutu? Whose fan is this? I think it's from Teacher Xianxi's fan base. An uncertain voice came from the crowd. The catering staff on the barbecue truck smiled and said, "That's right, we're Sister Yi's fan support team." In an instant, the assistant director even forgot to chew. His throat slid and he swallowed a whole fish ball. He choked until his eyes rolled back in discomfort. Xianxia actually had such a luxurious fan support team? How was that possible? The artistes present all had different expressions. They didn't expect a mere Xianxia to have such great appeal. Anan said excitedly, "Wow, Sister E, your fan club is really awesome." Xianxia said, "Didn't you and Mr. C help me with this? It's your fans. They were all very happy when they heard that you took on National Mass Workout." Anan showed her the chat history in the fan club. Seeing that someone said that they saved their breakfast money to support her, Xianxia frowned and said, "These must be very expensive. Calculate how much it costs and help me pay them back." Anan was stunned for a moment. "Sweetheart, this is a kind gesture from the fans. This kind of thing is very normal in the entertainment industry," Xianxia said sternly. "My fans don't need to spend money on me. I have money." Anan. "Alright, sorry to disturb you. I almost forgot that my darling is a Miss Perfect." He scratched his head and relayed Xianxi's message in the group. The group was instantly flooded with messages. Wu Tutu is too gentle and spicy. But I just want to spend money on Sister E. What kind of peerless little angel is Xianxia Kak? However, under Anan's insistence, the management still calculated the amount. Anan was taken aback when he saw the price. He typed, 4 dining cars only cost this much. The other party sent a voice message. We only sent a barbecue truck. Is there anything else? Could it be a fan from an unofficial group? Anan had created an official fan club for Xianxia. There was a strict vetting process for those who joined the group. They could be considered as Xianxia's most loyal and hardcore fans. Of course, there were also many groups created by fans. Anan was about to check again when he saw that Si Chuanbai had sent him a WeChat message. Mr. Si, there's no need to ask. The remaining 3 dining cars were arranged by Shi Sui. Nan Hao Nan. Huh? So Shi Sui is Sister Yi's #1 fan? I'll go tell Sister Yi now. Mr. Si. I guess so. Si Chuanbai, who was in front of the screen, calmly pushed his glasses up his nose. He probably wasn't the #1 fan. He was probably the #1 suitor. However, his way of expressing his goodwill was too elementary. He didn't even inform Xianxia and had to rely on him and Little Colored Feather to assist him. Under Chapter 443. Just as Si Chuanbai had expected, Anan told Xianxia about the Shi Sui support truck as soon as possible. Xianxia said, "Ah, Senior, you're so nice. You're so thoughtful." Anan couldn't help but overthink. Oh my, don't you think Shi Sui seems to treat you differently from others? After all, he had been in the entertainment industry for so many years and was always on the front line. In his impression, Shi Sui had never been involved in any scandals with any female celebrities. Except for Xianxia. He heard that his team was very good at public relations. If a female celebrity tried to make him a couple, the post would be deleted very quickly. However, now there were all kinds of news, gossip and posts about him and Xianxia on the internet. But Shi Sui's team didn't delete a single post. Xianxia asked in confusion, hasn't he always been so nice? Ever since she was a child, Shi Sui had always been gentle and gentlemanly. He was also impeccable when it came to dealing with others and was very popular with her brother. He was also liked by the elders. Anan opened his mouth and said, I don't think so. While the two of them were chatting, Sutumi suddenly leaned over and exclaimed angrily, Xianxia, why didn't you reply to my message? Xianxia said, sorry, I didn't look at my phone. Sutumi pouted. She had a sweet and pleasant appearance in the first place, and when she acted coquettishly, it would make one's heart soften. Tell me then, why do you smell so good? Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She sent her the link of the body lotion that she often used and casually said, do you like sweet perfumes? Give me an address then I'll send you some homemade perfume later. Sutumi asked in surprise, you know how to make perfumes? Xianxia said, I'm an amateur. Sutumi believed her but she didn't want to dampen Xianxia's enthusiasm. After she was rejected when she sent her homemade soap to others previously, she didn't want to make any more handmade products. Okay, I'll try it then. The two of them chatted for a while and rushed over when they heard the director shouting through the loudspeaker. Recording countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, I'll announce the rules of the game this time. This round uses the real-life CS competitive mode. The game is divided into 2 teams, red and blue. There are 2 ways to win. One is to kill all the members of one team, and the other is to take the other team's flag first. Members of both sides, please guard your own flags and try your best to kill the opposing players. The player with the most kills or the greatest contribution will be the individual MVP of this round. So, the game starts now. All the artists were blindfolded and brought to different areas. The moment he saw the light again, he felt a slight pain in his eyes. Xianxia narrowed her eyes and quickly adapted to the light. She began to judge the environment she was in. Before coming here, Anan had changed her hair into a bun. Xianxia casually broke a branch of a plant, weaved it into a hat and put it on. She rubbed the toy gun in her hand. It was an imitation of a sniper rifle called the Fall of the Gods, and it even came with a scope. Xianxia was not in a hurry to look for her teammates. Instead, she first hid the team's flag in a secluded place. In order to ensure the gaming experience, there were no cameramen following them. However, there were cameras all around and there was one above each artist's head. The sound of footsteps could be heard. Xianxia skillfully lay prone in the secluded place, loaded the gun, scoped in and aimed at the source of the sound. The person who came was not wearing the blue team's badge. Bang! Xianxia fired without hesitation. Chapter 444. The shot was decisive and firm. The girl's long eyelashes fluttered, and her fingers on the trigger were fair and soft. She didn't tremble at all. She shot him in the heart. The blue dye exploded and covered his upper body. The popular little fresh meat Zhou Xian was at a loss. He had a feeling that it was over before it even started. The announcement sounded. Player Xianxia has killed player Zhou Xian. Player Zhou Xian is out. Immediately afterwards another announcement sounded. The resurrection card has taken effect. Player Zhou Xian has been resurrected. 2 more lives. Xianxia raised her eyebrows and was about to fire a second shot when she heard Zhou Xian hurriedly say, "Sister E, don't shoot, he's one of us." He hurriedly took out the blue team badge from his pocket and put it on. Xianxia was speechless. "So I killed my teammate for the first time?" She walked out from behind the tree feeling a little embarrassed. "Sorry, I thought you were on the red team." Zhou Xian sighed. "I deliberately took off the badge to confuse my opponent, but I didn't expect to confuse my teammate." In the director's office, the director laughed so hard that he was almost out of breath. He could already imagine how overjoyed the audience would be when they saw this scene. This little accident was naturally funny and was not something that could be written in a script. Xianxia and Zhou Xian walked together. Zhou Xian was a talent show winner and was very good at business and socializing. Even if he didn't have anything to say, he could still strike up a conversation with Xianxia. "I've watched 2 under one roof. Xiao Naofu and little Shiji are so cute. The scene of Shui running with them every day is so funny. It was normal to walk dogs, but it was rare to walk cats, let alone run with them. Xiao Naofu was often as tired as a dead dog and had to stay in Shui's pocket for the second half of the journey. It would stick its head out and pant heavily. Xianxia asked with a subtle expression, "Running? Did he bully Xiao Naofu?" Stunned, Zhou Xian said hesitantly, "Sister E, aren't you going to watch the replay?" Xianxia shook her head. Zhou Xian was speechless. He felt like he had accidentally dug his own grave. He hurriedly changed the subject. "The item I got in the previous round was the resurrection card. What about you, senior?" In the previous round, Zhou Xian was ranked second. Xianxia, "Not yet." She took out a small envelope from her pocket and opened it. There was a card inside. Elimination card. Description: using this card can eliminate 1 player. "Oh, this card is good. Sister, you keep it well. You might be able to use this to turn the tables," Zhou Xian said as he leaned towards Xianxia. He didn't dislike CP fans. On the contrary, he knew what CP fans would bring. Heat. Besides, in the current environment of the industry, even if there were rumors about a couple, it was mostly about female artists. Even if she scolded him, what was it in the face of traffic and profits? However, Xianxia did not intend to cooperate with him. She quietly widened the distance between the two of them. Zhou Xian vaguely realized that she was rejecting him, but he refused to give up. He asked, "Sister E, are you tired? Do you want to take a break?" Xianxia glanced at him. Zhou Xian didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that she was a little disgusted with him. The girl stopped and broke a branch with a crack. She then broke off the branch with her bare hands and handed it to Zhou Xian calmly. "If you can't walk, I can use this to pull you." Zhou Xian. Did she interpret his concern as her stamina being poor? "It's not convenient to carry you. How about I carry you?" Xianxia asked sincerely. Chapter 445. Xianxia was telling the truth. Although she was stronger than ordinary girls and knew how to use her skills, Zhou Xian was still tall and it would be more troublesome to carry him on her back. However, it would save her a lot of effort to carry him. Zhou Xian forced a smile and said, No need." Xianxia's eyes were clear and bright. Can you persist? If you can't, don't force yourself." Zhou Xian exclaimed, I can really." Xianxia shoved the branch to him and said, "Then use it as a crutch. If necessary, you can use it as a weapon." Zhou Xian was obviously much quieter during the rest of the journey. Gradually, 5 players were eliminated. There were 3 people left in the blue team and 2 in the red team. The players in the red team were all eliminated by Xianxia. Zhou Xian was also able to witness Xianxia's terrifying hit rate. All of them were shot in the heart without exception. He suspected that if it weren't for safety considerations, Xianxia might have shot him in the head. Passing by the water source, the two of them successfully met up with their third teammate, Bai Wuxia. At the same time, Su Tumi screamed from not far away, "Don't come over, help." Bai Wuxia was considered a respected senior. Although he wasn't very popular now, he had a high status in the circle. He said, "This isn't a trap, right? A honey trap to lure the enemy in." Xianxia said with a solemn expression, "I'll go take a look." Bai Wuxia said confidently, "Ah, Xianxia, you don't understand. You'll fall into their trap as soon as you go. You're the sharpshooter of our team. If you fall into their trap, how are we going to win?" Jun Han hesitated for a moment, but he didn't refute, tacitly agreeing with Bai Wuxia. Although it was a variety show, the audience admired the strong. Who wouldn't like to be on the winning side? Xiangyi's attitude was very firm. "I'll go take a look. Winning or losing is just a game, but what if Su Tumi is really in danger?" The young girl's footsteps were light as she scurried towards the source of the sound. Bai Wuxia and Jun Han looked at each other and had no choice but to follow her. Su Tumi was very unlucky today as she didn't run into any teammates, but she was lucky enough to kill 2 players. She proudly hummed a little tune and accidentally walked into the depths of the forest. Suddenly, a man emerged from the bushes. His clothes were tattered and his eyes were fierce. Su Tumi initially thought that it was the plot arranged by the production team, but in the blink of an eye, she realized that something was wrong. There were dried bloodstains on the man's clothes. It wasn't something that could be dyed with those prop pigments. It was real human blood. Su Tumi reacted and stumbled forward. As soon as she ran, it was as if she had ignited some kind of danger signal. The man behind her quickly chased after her. It was as if a beast had locked onto its prey. Su Tumi was even more certain that this person was definitely not arranged by the production team. She screamed with all her might and gestured to every passing camera, hoping that someone would come and save her. In the director's office. Seeing this scene, the director and the others turned pale with fright. They hurriedly ordered more than a dozen staff members to rush over. "This person can't be a fugitive, right?" The assistant director gulped, his palms sweating nervously. "If something happens, our program will be finished." The director's Adam's apple moved and he wanted to bear with it, but he couldn't. He cursed, "Is life important or the program important? Can you be a damn human?" The atmosphere was tense and everyone felt as if there was a sword hanging in their hearts. They were so nervous that their palms were sweaty. Chapter 446. Someone suggested, "Aren't Jun Han and the other artistes nearby? Why don't we let them rush over first?" However, someone soon retorted, "How can we do that? What if that man has a weapon? It's too dangerous." Everyone was full of regret. They thought that they had made full preparations, but who would have thought that such an accident would happen? Suddenly, the director exclaimed, "Xianxia is going over." "Huh." In the lush and deep jungle, Xianxi's footsteps were light and she ran extremely quickly. She rushed to the source of the sound as quickly as she could, but there was no one around. There were only traces of the grass being crushed. Every artiste was equipped with a headset for emergency communication. The director hurriedly contacted Xianxia and said, "Su Tumi is not far from you, she's right in front of you at 3 o'clock. Before she finished speaking, she had already followed the traces on the ground and ran straight. Somewhere behind the bushes. Su Tumi's mouth was covered by a pair of dirty hands and she felt suffocated. At first she could still make some muffled sounds, but soon she didn't even have the strength to make a sound. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Su Tumi never thought that she would encounter such a thing. For a moment she even felt that perhaps dying here would be the best outcome. Otherwise, what should she do when the entire entertainment industry finds out about this? The sound of the man's rapid breathing came from behind her, accompanied by the rustling of clothes. Su Tumi closed her eyes in despair. Bang. 2 voices, one after the other, suddenly rang out. The first was the sound of a toy bullet exploding. The second was the man's painful shriek behind her. Su Tumi opened her eyes abruptly and saw Xianxi's slender figure in a trance. The young girl was wearing a camouflage uniform and a hat made of branches on her head. There were leaves hanging on her eyebrows and her gaze was terrifyingly cold. She held the sniper rifle and fired a second shot at the man. Both shots were headshots. Although it was a toy bullet, it had a certain degree of lethality, let alone a fragile part like the head. The man fell to the ground in pain. He cursed and tried to take Tsutomi hostage. Tsutomi was so scared that she even forgot to escape and struggle. She was dumbfounded. Seeing that the man was about to succeed, Xianxia leaped forward and began fighting with him. The man's skills were unexpectedly good, and the two fell into a stalemate for a while. Junhan and the others had rushed over as well. Upon seeing this scene, Junhan tightened his grip on the walking stick that Xianxia had made for him earlier. He asked hesitantly, "Senior, should we go over and help?" Wuxia coughed. Well, why don't you young people go? I'm already so old, so I won't join in the fun." His eyes were very sharp. He had just seen a bulge in the pocket of the man's shirt. It looked like a knife. Only a fool would save a damsel in distress. This was not an act. The most important thing was to protect his own life. Junhan, in fact, he didn't dare to. Not everyone had the courage to face such a thing. Junhan took a few steps forward hesitantly and his calves began to twitch. He gritted his teeth and was about to step forward when he realized that the man had taken out a fruit knife, making him shiver in fear. Why is there a knife? Wuxia looked as if he had expected it and comforted him. "Someone will come over later. Let's stand further away. If Xianxia can't hold on, we'll be in trouble." Chapter 447. Little did they know that their conversation was all picked up by the equipment and transmitted back to the director's room. All of a sudden, the room was silent and even the sound of breathing seemed to have disappeared. To be fair, Wuxia was right. Legally speaking, there was no obligation to save others without ensuring one's own safety. However, what he said made her feel especially uncomfortable. If they were strangers it would be fine, but Xianxia and Tsutomi were considered colleagues. Yet he stood by and watched the two girls fall into danger. Tsutomi screamed, drawing everyone's attention back to Xianxia. The young girl couldn't dodge in time and was slashed on her cheek. However, she also found a flaw in the man's defense and removed his arm. She kicked the knife away and restrained him with her knee. The man refused to give up and the two of them got into a fight. Xianxia's forehead was covered in sweat and her fair face was flushed. However, she didn't forget to remind Tsutomi, "Leave first." Tsutomi's eyes were red and there were still traces of tears. She nodded and stumbled towards Junhan and Wuxia. Wuxia's expression changed drastically. "Tumi, don't run towards us. What if that man breaks free?" Tsutomi immediately felt like she had been splashed with a basin of ice water as she felt cold from head to toe. She pursed her lips and wanted to say something, but she didn't have any strength at all. Tsutomi remained silent and moved in another direction to stand further away from Wuxia. Wuxia was still dissatisfied and he complained to Junhan, "The bad guys were targeting the two of them in the first place. Aren't they afraid of implicating us? Their EQ is really low." Junhan ignored him and kept his gaze fixed on Xianxia. The wound on the girl's face was bleeding continuously, staining half of her face red. She was supposed to be a pitiful little girl hiding behind a man, but somehow she had the explosive power and ferocity to fight the vicious gangster alone until now. In that second, shame defeated cowardice and courage defeated cowardice. Junhan roared to give himself some courage and rushed forward. Coincidentally, the man almost broke free from Xianxia's shackles, but Junhan hit the back of his neck with his crutch and he groaned in pain. Junhan helped Xianxia hold him down. After all, he was a grown man and was quite strong. Even so, the two of them almost failed to hold each other down. Fortunately, the staff arrived in time and tied him up with ropes in a flurry. Soon the police arrived. Before the man was taken away, he glared viciously at Xianxia. Xianxia looked at him calmly. There was no fear or hatred, only indifference in her eyes. It was as if from the bottom of his heart he didn't care about the person in front of him at all. The dust settled. The director announced the end of the filming and called for an ambulance to take Tsutomi and Xianxia to the nearest hospital. Dong Mei was a stay-at-home mother. Today she brought her child to the hospital for an intravenous drip and happened to bump into the crew of National Mass Workout, who came to the hospital. She poked her head in curiously and found that the doctor was applying medicine on Xianxia's face. Hence she secretly took a photo and posted it at night. Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai. I'm really speechless. Are celebrities superior to others? She just suffered a minor injury. Is there a need to make such a big fuss? I also asked around and found out that this celebrity is called Xianxia. I've never heard of a small-time celebrity, let alone a major one. I'm furious. Chapter 448. Because this Weibo post included Xiangyi's name, there were dozens of comments in less than 2 minutes. I'm dying of laughter. It's just a minor injury. If she went to the hospital a little later, she would have recovered. Ha, this is how medical resources are wasted. More than a dozen people are circling around her. Isn't she the little princess? Blogger, you're calling her a small-time celebrity. Be careful that her fans don't come and bite you. Her fans think she's an A-lister. There were also some spicy Tutu fans who noticed this Weibo post and raised their own doubts. Celebrities are humans too. If ordinary people can go to the emergency room, can't celebrities do the same? Look at the schedule posted by the official fan club. Sister E is filming National Mass Workout today. For example, if you get injured at work and your colleagues accompany you to the hospital, what's wrong with that? Sister E injured her face. Even if she's not an artiste, it's still a big deal for an ordinary girl to have her face injured. There are only 2 doctors and nurses among the dozen or so people. The others are obviously staff. How can they criticize her? Dong Mei paid the fee and opened her Weibo account excitedly. She had never received so many comments on her Weibo posts in the past. Now she saw that there were hundreds of comments below, and there were also fans and haters arguing fiercely. She felt as if she had suddenly gained a sense of existence and many people were paying attention to her. Her vanity was greatly satisfied. Hence, Dong Mei posted 2 more Weibo posts. Meihua Xiangzi Kahonlai. I heard from other patients that they even used a stretcher. I wonder why someone with an injured face has to sleep on a stretcher? Meihua Xiangzi Kahonlai. I bumped into by Wuxia when I was paying the bill. He doesn't look old at all. He's still as elegant as ever. He's especially charming. TSK the entertainment industry is still the best. He'll even take the initiative to help the younger generation pay, unlike some small-time celebrities who wish they could wrap themselves up like mummies. These 2 Weibo posts aroused the anger of many netizens. Through the screen, the netizens attacked Xiangyi, other celebrities and the culture of the entertainment industry as if everyone was a judge. Dong Mei enjoyed the dense comments with relish. She even ignored her son who told her that he was thirsty and wanted some water. After Su Tumi's diagnosis came out, she was greatly shocked and needed to rest well. Junhan also suffered some scratches. On the contrary, Xiangyi was the one with the most serious injuries. There were bruises on her arms and knees. Her left wrist was slightly fractured. The skin at the corner of her mouth was cut. There was also a knife wound on her face. Little girl, your wound may leave a scar. The doctor sighed. He heard about Xiangyi's heroic act and felt that it was a pity. But he was afraid that Xiangyi would be sad, so he comforted her. But don't worry, the medical technology is very mature now. If it's done well, there won't be any scar. Xiangyi thanked him and handed a tissue to Anan with her right hand. She said helplessly, all right. Don't cry. She didn't cry, but Anan cried miserably. Moreover, he was wailing loudly. Oh my God, you scared me to death. It's all my fault, I should have stayed with you. Wah. He burped, feeling both funny and sad. Xiangyi, I'm really fine, it doesn't hurt at all. I've suffered much more serious injuries in the past and I didn't even cry. In the next second, a slender and tall figure appeared in front of her. Xiangyi suddenly felt a little pain. Chapter 449. Shi Sui strode into the emergency room and saw Xiangyi sitting obediently on the treatment chair. Her eyes were clear and bright as she looked at him quietly. The heavy stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. He subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. However, when he saw the gauze on Xiangyi's face and wrist, his brows furrowed. The man's Adam's apple bobbed. Words of concern were on the tip of his tongue, but he didn't know how to say them. All the formalities and etiquette had lost their effect in front of her. Instead, Xiangyi spoke first. Her voice was soft and tender. Shi Sui. Shi Sui suppressed his fluctuating emotions. Yes. I'm hungry. The girl was a little aggrieved. I miss Xiaonaofu. The softest corner of her heart felt as if it had been bumped lightly. There was an indescribable sourness and warmth. Shi Sui raised his hand and rubbed her hair. I left a tablet in the living room. You can video call Xiaonaofu. I'll go buy you some food. Xiangyi was stunned. Does he know that Xiaonaofu isn't an ordinary kitten? As if seeing through her thoughts, Shi Sui whispered, This is our little secret. Thump thump. His heart was beating wildly as if fireworks were being set off. Bang 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 bang. Xianxi's expression was still calm, but the tips of her crimson ears betrayed her. Shui went to buy food while Xianxi was in the lounge. She made a video call. It only rang twice before it was picked up. A magnified cat face appeared on the screen. Xiao Naofu cried anxiously, "Meow. Meow meow. Stupid woman. How are you?" "It's me, I'm fine. Don't worry." Xiangyi's tone was gentle as she comforted it. "Have you eaten?" "Meow meow. Meow." Xiao Naofu saw the wound on her face. Its ears drooped and its bright eyes were filled with tears. Its furry paws gently touched Xiangyi's face through the screen. What a stupid woman, stupid woman. Always injuring herself. Xiao Naofu suddenly felt that it was useless. If only it was a ferocious tiger, it could protect this stupid woman from being bullied by bad guys. Although it didn't want to admit it had to admit that it could only be a useless kitten. Little Shiji leaned over and nudged Xiao Naofu with his creamy yellow head, seemingly trying to comfort it. After Xiangyi video called them for a while, Shui came back with the food. When the director of National Mass Workout saw him, he was extremely surprised. He didn't expect that someone like Shui would lower himself to buy food for Xiangyi. "Are you here to see Sister E?" The director still had a lingering fear when he recalled the scene where Xiangyi fought with the bad guys. He sighed and said, "Fortunately, Sister E was here. Otherwise, the consequences today would have been unimaginable. What if Su Tumi was really... Not only would Su Tumi be traumatized for the rest of her life, but everyone in the production team who had a conscience wouldn't forgive themselves either." Shui nodded in greeting, his attitude slightly cold. It was very different from his usual gentle and quiet way of dealing with people. The scriptwriter looked at his back and whispered, "Shui is so cold and aloof." The director smiled bitterly. "How is this cold and aloof?" "He's angry." However, it turns out that a person like Shui, who is so meticulous in every aspect, would actually give others a cold shoulder? Kacha. Dong Mei secretly took a photo of Shui's silhouette and was extremely agitated. She immediately posted it on the internet. Chapter 450. Meihua Xiangzi Kahonlai. How delicate can a female celebrity be? It's just a flesh wound, yet she still has the cheek to ask Shui to buy food for her. I'm impressed. On the hospital bed, her son said weakly, "Mommy, I'm cold." "What are you cold for?" "Don't bother me." Dong Mei hollered impatiently. "Mommy is busy." The child pursed his lips and fell silent, watching his mother play with her cell phone. "Is the cell phone more important than me?" Dong Mei swiped her fingers and scrolled through the comments on Weibo, thinking that she would still see the netizens arguing or asking her to expose more information. To her surprise, the scene changed abruptly. Did Shui visit her? "Ah, sure bought food for Sister E, but I got candy. Hee, I'm going to piss you guys off. Shui just likes our mediocre Xiangyi. Oh my god, am I the only one who noticed that Shui is wearing slippers? The pair that he wore at home during the live stream. So he came here to see Sister E? Sabir." Dong Mei was dumbfounded. What's going on? Why isn't anyone criticizing Xiangyi anymore? In fact, there were still people who were criticizing her, but there were too many people who were indulging in candy. Hence those comments were pushed down. However, by Wuxia, who was feeling guilty, accidentally saw this post on Weibo and hurriedly got his team to buy a trending topic. #Xiangyi acting like a big shot. He felt that the netizens didn't care about the truth, but rather they just needed to vent their emotions. Hence, he wanted to take advantage of the situation and push Xiangyi to the peak of public opinion while he pretended that nothing had happened. He could even create the image of an old senior who didn't want to become famous. The power of trending topics was terrifying. As soon as the words were posted, countless netizens clicked on them. When everyone saw Dong Mei's news, the words "acting like a big shot, superior," and medical resources easily stirred up emotions and poked at their sore spots. All of a sudden, the netizens got excited and pointed their keyboards at Xiangyi. "No way, no way, no way? She's acting like a big shot? Oh, so celebrities are the privileged class now. Can't you treat this kind of minor injury yourself? They just had to occupy medical resources. Our country's doctors and nurses are already overworked. Don't you know how to reduce the burden on the medical staff?" For a time, Xiangyi was once again caught in the whirlpool of the storm. Bai Wuxia also secretly bought some internet water army and bragged that he cared for the younger generation and did not put on airs. Unexpectedly, he received a very normal effect. Teacher Bai is so nice, where else can you find such a senior? When Bai Wuxia became popular, Xianxia was still drinking milk. She wants her senior to pay for her? That doesn't make sense. Senior White's acting skills are so good, but he doesn't have any roles or resources. On the other hand, a powerless artist like Xianxia relied on live broadcasts to become famous. I'm speechless. Just as the netizens were flaming him the most, the director of National Mass Workout posted on Weibo. Laozhu next door. I was too busy just now and it was chaotic. Now I want to clarify that Xianxia V is not acting like a big shot. Today during the recording of the show an accident happened. Xianxia was injured because she was trying to save someone. In addition, her injuries in the ambulance were not minor either. She had a knife wound on her face and a fractured wrist. At that time there were other injured artists in the ambulance. The three of them were squeezed into one car. Our staff drove the car ourselves, so there was no issue of occupying medical resources. Netizens, please think carefully. Be careful with your words. Careful. Chapter 451. The three exclamation marks expressed Director Zhu's indignation. Having been in the entertainment industry for many years, he could tell at a glance the twists and turns behind the hot search list. However, on account of Bai Wuxia's seniority, he didn't mention the fact that Bai Wuxia left Xianxia in the lurch. The netizens who were scolding Xianxia were dumbfounded. What? Is Xianxia really that good? She's willing to sacrifice herself to save others? However, the focus of the Spicy Tutu fans was on the injury, and they all felt their hearts ache. Oh, what's going on? Oh my God, a knife wound? And on her face? And a bone fracture. What exactly happened? Xianxia is so pitiful, her old mother is about to cry. There was a huge uproar on the internet. The lounge was quiet and cozy. Xianxia scooped up steamed chestnut pumpkin with a spoon and ate it while Shui peeled an egg for her with his slender fingers. Is there anything else you want to eat? He asked. Xianxia thought about it and tilted her head. Spicy hot pot. You can't eat spicy food now. I was just thinking about it. Don't even think about it. Shui handed her the peeled egg. Xianxia was both upset and angry. She bit off half of the egg in one bite and choked until her face turned red. Fortunately, Shui poured her a glass of warm water in time. Eat slowly, he said in a helpless and doting tone. Xianxia paused and changed the subject in order to hide her embarrassment. When did you find out about Xiao Naofu? Shui raised his eyebrows. Isn't it obvious? Which kitten knows how to act and is so good at acting? Xianxia was speechless. That's true. What else do you know? Xianxia asked tentatively. She was just asking casually, but to her surprise, Shui looked at her deeply and said, The you from last year wasn't you, was it? Xianxia was speechless. Her eyes widened in shock. He can tell. Shui said gently, After all, I'm a professional at acting. Many things could be acted out, but what was acted out was ultimately just an act. It wasn't completely real. Xianxia recalled the scene of her transmigration and felt a little guilty. That me, did I do anything to you at the hotel that day? Shui slowly picked up an apple and peeled it. There was a hint of teasing in her lazy voice. Sister E, do you think that you will succeed? He threw the question back. Xianxia panicked even more. No, it can't be that something really happened, right? Are you okay? Were they bullied? Was she taken advantage of? Have you been wronged? The handsome man had a pair of deep and charming peach blossom eyes. Sister E, what are you worried about? Are you afraid that I'm not clean? Xianxia's ears began to turn red as soon as she heard his flirtatious words. That's not what I meant. Cleanliness or not, it's all the shackles of the secular ethics. It shouldn't become prejudice and be taken to heart. Whoosh, Shui closed the distance between the two of them. His eyes were pure black as he stared at the young lady in front of him without blinking. So, Sister E, what you mean is that no matter what kind of person I am, Sister E won't mind? Xianxia vaguely felt that his words were a trap. However, she trusted Shui too much and instinctively replied with a soft, yes. Then what if I'm a bad person? Shui asked with a smile. Xianxia retorted instinctively, no you won't. You're very very good. Then she saw the man in front of her curl his lips. What should I do? I don't want to be a good person at all. Chapter 452. Xiangyi's eyelashes fluttered. Before she could react, her eyes were covered. It was a sudden darkness. Zhou Xian. She called out to him in confusion. There was doubt in her voice. But she was not afraid. Zhou Xian paused in his movements. You. Xiangyi bit her lower lip and hesitated for a few seconds before asking, Are you going to kiss me? Zhou Xian was speechless for a moment. Although he wanted to be a bad guy from the bottom of his heart after being exposed, he felt a little embarrassed. The rational person in his heart and the devil person were in a fierce confrontation. Xiangyi's face was completely red. Even her voice was trembling, but she still pretended to be calm and indifferent. Then you can kiss me. Bang. It was like fireworks bursting in the sky at the end of the century. Her heart was racing at the speed of a 100-meter dash. Her ears were filled with chaotic noises. For a moment time seemed to have stopped. Zhou Xian's clear throat moved. His voice was a little hoarse. Sister Yi, do you know what you are saying? Xiangyi said, Anan told me a phrase recently. I think it makes sense. I think I'm a little like an old pervert. Zhou Xian was stunned for a moment. After a moment he laughed involuntarily. You're really, whoosh. Her heartbeat slowed down. It was as if she had rolled on cotton candy in the clouds, wrapped in sweetness. Xiangyi waited for a long time, but he did not kiss her. She was a little nervous. She felt that Zhou Xian treated her differently. But she was not sure how much Zhou Xian liked her. Was it the same as her, or was it different from her? But now he was not even willing to kiss her, so it might be the latter. Because of the visual barrier, what she did not know was how hot and lustful the man in front of her was at this moment. He wanted to eat the little rabbit in front of him. He did not want to be a good person. Yet he wanted to be a good person for her. Zhou Xian leaned close to her ear, and the warmth of his breath fell on the girl's slender white neck. Do you like me? Xiangyi said calmly, Yes. Not a fan of mommies? I'm sorry, I've become a fan. It was dark in front of her, but her hearing was magnified. She keenly heard Zhou Xian's low and deep laughter. He said, Sister Yi, then I'll take it as you confessing to me. Xiangyi, was there something not quite right? There's no need for that. Zhou Xian's words made Xiangyi's heart sink to the bottom of the valley like a roller coaster. Then there was a turn of events as if he had ascended to the clouds. Wifey fan, do you want to try? Xiangyi suddenly pulled his hand away. In a moment of carelessness she used her own broken hand. The pain made her suck in a breath of cold air. Zhou Xian frowned slightly and pressed down on her restless hand. Don't move. The girl's doe eyes were bright. Do you like me? Zhou Xian did not answer. Clearly, in countless movies and dramas he could confess to unfamiliar actresses. But at this moment, facing Xiangyi, he felt embarrassed. He looked a little helpless, licked the corner of his mouth and was about to say something when he heard Xiangyi say firmly, You like me. She used a statement which was firm and full of courage. Zhou Xian was infected by her and there was a happy smile on his face. Yes, I like you and you like me too. Xiangyi coughed and raised her chin proudly. Then we are in love with each other. Then do you want to be my boyfriend? Chapter 453. In the lounge, it was so quiet that only the sound of each other's breathing could be heard. Even the air seemed to have been tainted with a hint of sweetness. Xiangyi asked too frankly. Probably because of her upbringing, she never felt that love was something that couldn't be said out loud. Love was meant to be expressed. Actions and words were both ways. Zhou Xian also answered naturally, Okay. He paused and smiled. But I should be the one to say this first. Xiangyi, then let's pretend to do it again and you confess to me. A sly look flashed across the girl's eyes like a little fox. But it was especially cute. Zhou Xian was especially cooperative as he straightened his tie and cuffs in a serious manner. He even picked up a rose from a vase and said in a very ritualistic manner, Xiangyi, would you like to be my girlfriend? Xiangyi nodded her little head. Okay, boyfriend. The girl was childish and her smile was pure and bright. Zhou Xian picked up a half-peeled apple and was childish with her. Girlfriend, do you want to cut the fruit into small pieces? Xiangyi gestured with her hands. Boyfriend, I want it this big. The two looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh at the same time. Zhou Xian quickly peeled the apple and the skin was not broken at all. Xiangyi sat on the bed wrapped in a blanket, eating the apple that Zhou Xian fed her. and her happy little legs dangled in the air. When Anan came in, he saw her sweet and silly smile. How did Sister E become so stupid? Anan strode forward and reached out to touch Xiangyi's forehead. Good girl, do you have a fever? Before he could touch the corner of the girl's clothes, his hand was stopped halfway by a pair of big hands and tightly shackled. Shui said, neither too fast nor too slow. There are differences between men and women. Anan blurted out, you're already in the same room as Sister E. Aren't you a man? He's my boyfriend. After Xiangyi said that, she felt like a show-off. She shyly wrapped the blanket more tightly. Anan? His eyes widened as he looked at Shui in disbelief. Just like that, Shuringdi was promoted. It took a few minutes for Anan to accept this reality. He gulped and said, good girl, if your brothers find out, what are we going to do? What will they do to Shuringdi's legs? Crack? He made a gesture to interrupt. Xiangyi said, no, I'll protect him. Shui smiled. Thank you, Sister E. It's great to have Sister E around. It's normal for a girlfriend to protect her boyfriend. Xiangyi looked calm on the surface, but her little body was twitching again. Anan looked at this scene in shock. Shuringdi, why are you acting so natural with your gigolo face? He risked his life and said, Shuringdi, if you act like this, your fans might think that you're living off a woman. Shui raised her eyebrows. Can anyone live off a woman? Anan, many people can live off Sister E, but I'm the only one who can live off Sister E. Anan's eyes started to glaze over. Who is it? Shui's eyes suddenly turned sharp and shot out of the lounge. Anan quickly went to open the door and found a woman in her 30s secretly taking photos through the crack of the door with her phone. He said with a sullen face, Madam, please delete the photos or videos. Being discovered, the woman panicked at first, then muttered softly, why are you being so fierce? Aren't celebrities supposed to be photographed by others? Chapter 454. Anan was speechless. Celebrities also have their personal time and space. You're violating their privacy and portrait rights. Dong Mei saw that the other party wasn't tall and had colorful hair. He looked like a hooligan, so she didn't take Anan seriously. She lied through her teeth. I didn't take any photos, I was just looking. Who took any photos? Don't talk nonsense and slander people. Which law says that ordinary people can't look at celebrities when they meet them? Anan took a deep breath and resisted the urge to pull her hair. He tried his best to calm down and said, give me your phone. You can leave after I delete the photos. Dong Mei's eyes darted around and she had to stir things up. My phone is my private property. Why should I give it to you? You're invading my privacy. Don't come over. Someone nurse. Someone is robbing me. Anan was so angry that his head was buzzing. She was allowed to invade other people's privacy, but it was a crime for other people to legally defend their rights? He had never seen such double standards. Her voice was loud and the commotion was too loud. A nurse immediately rushed over to understand the situation. Dong Mei made the first move. It's him. Nurse, look at his hooligan appearance. He even wants to snatch my phone. Your hospital's service is really bad. How can you let such a person in? Anan was speechless. The nurse had a headache and could only persuade both sides. Anan was still arguing, but when he turned his head, he found that the woman had sneaked away. F***ck, what kind of person is this? The difference between people is bigger than the difference between a human and a dog. Damn it. Si Chuanbai had just gotten out of the elevator when he heard a certain little girl with colorful hair swearing. He coughed lightly. The next second, Anan quickly changed his words. His mother's mother is called grandma and his father's father is called grandpa. Si Chuanbai's eyes were full of smiles, but on the surface he still looked like a serious elite. What happened? Anan reluctantly recounted the whole story. Si Chuanbai frowned. I'm afraid that woman didn't secretly take 1 or 2 photos. Not long ago a Weibo post was trending. Fortunately, Director Zhu came out to clarify. This hospital was located in a remote area and there was not much traffic. He refreshed his Weibo. Sure enough, the other party had updated his Weibo and his words were full of sarcasm. Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai. Oh my god, I can't stand how pretentious this female celebrity is. She even needs her assistant to feed her when she eats. What was even weirder was that there was a little hooligan beside her. His hair was dyed in different colors and he looked like a delinquent. I only took a few photos and he actually scolded me. Luckily, I was quick-witted and insisted that I didn't take any photos. He couldn't do anything to me. In addition to the text, she also attached a few pictures that she had secretly taken. Dong Mei was proud of her cleverness. She had set the settings that she could only comment if she followed someone. Now her Weibo followers had increased from dozens to thousands. She was very excited. If it could rise to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, wouldn't she be able to become famous on the internet just by scolding celebrities? How could he earn money while lying down at home? She didn't expect that she would fail this time. And it was a thorough search. As for the untimely couple fans, they welcomed another wave of celebration. What assistant? This is Shengdi. Shengdi is feeding Sister Xianxia dead. Why are you feeding her with your hands? Use your mouth. Use your mouth. Do you hear me? Chapter 455. The group of fans chewed on the candies and screamed like groundhogs. This couple must be the most genuine couple in the entertainment industry, right? The sweetest, right? It's not a loss to invest in them. Shui sister and Spicy Tutu's fans felt a little strange. Most people hoped that Shui and Xianxia would be beautiful on their own, but the two of them were so close. They really couldn't help but think about it. Could it be, something's really going on? For a moment, the fans of both parties were discussing what to do if this couple was real. In addition to the couple, Dong Mei was also ridiculed by a large number of netizens. I'm dying of laughter. You don't even know who Shui is and you keep calling him an assistant. You're twisting the facts, you know? Anan's little colorful hair has offended you. It's clearly very artistic. Even ordinary teachers can't dye it that way. The blogger's smug face is really disgusting. Xianxia is a celebrity, but she's also a patient. Other things aside, secretly taking photos of her is really tasteless. Looking at the abusive comments on the screen, Dong Mei's expression froze. Public opinion on the internet changed rapidly. One second they would praise you to the heavens and the next second they would trample you into the mud. Those who used public opinion as a sword to kill would definitely die by the sword. She deleted the latest Weibo post dejectedly, trying to pretend that nothing had happened. Unexpectedly, the netizens scolded her even more fiercely. Oh, you're feeling guilty already? Are you there? Why aren't you jumping out and prancing around? Are you visiting your mother's grave? Secretly taking photos is illegal. Be careful. Tutu Brother V's lawyer's warning letter. Dong Mei panicked and trembled as she typed. Mei Hua Xiangzi Kahan Lai. I'm just an ordinary single mother who came to the hospital with her child and happened to bump into a celebrity. I don't know anything about the entertainment industry at all. I was just casually complaining, but I didn't expect it to attract attention. Let me go. Stop scolding me. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, some people's hearts softened when they saw the word single mother. They were all humans and had compassion. At the thought of a woman raising a child, it was indeed not easy. Hence, many people not only stopped scolding her, but they also deleted their previous comments. Dong Mei saw that the comment section gradually calmed down and heaved a sigh of relief. Suddenly a nurse shouted, "Whose child is this? Why don't you think so?" Dong Mei went over with the intention of watching a good show. She didn't expect that the one who fell down the stairs was her son. The child's knees were bruised and his palms were scraped. The drip bottle was broken and the needle in his hand was bleeding again. It was a shocking sight. The nurse was carefully removing the needle for him. "Mommy, I'm not in pain." The child's eyes were wet. "I can't find you. Where did you go?" The surrounding people looked at him strangely as if they were silently criticizing him. A fire of annoyance rose from the bottom of Dong Mei's heart. "Who told you to look for me? If you just stay there obediently and get in for drip, do you know how to fall? You only bring me trouble every day." The child trembled in fear and said timidly, I just want to go to the toilet." An old granny next to her said unhappily, "The child is so young. How can you leave the child alone? As a mother you are too magnanimous." "It's none of your business, old woman." Dong Mei roared and grabbed the back of her son's collar. "You're so annoying. How old are you? Can't you go to the toilet yourself?" The child was already at his limit when she grabbed him. He was so scared that he instantly peed his pants. The response he got was a slap from his mother. Chapter 456. Smack. The crisp sound made the people around them shudder in fear. Dong Mei scolded. Will you die if you hold it in for a while longer? You're already so old yet you still wet your pants. How disgusting. Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? Why did I give birth to a son like you? The child's face turned pale as if he had done something terrible. He was so scared that his body began to tremble. The old lady from earlier said angrily, "What kind of mother are you?" The other passers-by were also very indignant. Not far away, a young man had recorded all of this on video. Dong Mei acted like a shrew in the hospital and scolded all the passers-by who were criticizing her. Only then did she take the child back to get an intravenous drip. The child was wearing soaked pants and didn't dare to speak or sit down, for fear of dirtying the hospital chair. There were still nurses who couldn't bear to see him like this and found a pair of hospital pants for him to change into. "Thank you, sister." The child thanked her obediently. "You're welcome." The nurse smiled at him and raised her hand to ruffle his hair. When she returned to her shift, she vaguely heard some patients discussing things like, "This video of her hitting the child is so popular," and "People like her don't deserve to be parents." She glanced at it curiously and realized that the woman in the video was the pitiful child's mother. The nurse clenched her fists, feeling a sense of satisfaction. On this day, countless people's social media platforms were flooded by a small video. The way the mother treated the child in the video was jaw-dropping. That last slap and the child's tearful tears touched countless people's hearts. You have to take exams to get into school, but why don't parents have to take exams? She left her child alone and even hit him. Is this mother her biological child? After watching this video, I realized that not everyone in this world is worthy of being a parent. The anger of the netizens was astonishing. It didn't take long for someone to dig out Dong Mei's information. Her Weibo account did not escape the sharp eyes of the netizens. When they saw that she had posted on Weibo to slander Xianxia, their anger doubled. The backlash of public opinion was also astonishing. Within a few minutes, her Weibo account was completely flooded. Later, Dong Mei's old classmate in real life also revealed that she wasn't a single mother at all. He even posted a screenshot of her family of 3 going on a trip. The evidence was irrefutable. The netizens who found out that they had been cheated were all furious. Was this woman treating them like monkeys? Dong Mei's phone was flooded with countless calls and messages. Even her husband's unit knew that she had hit the child and spread rumors. He might not even be able to keep his job. When she posted her first Weibo post, she never expected that retribution would come so quickly. The woman sat down on the hospital floor and cried bitterly. She regretted her actions. In the lounge, Si Chuanbai walked in and realized that the atmosphere in the room was different. He pushed up his glasses and asked calmly, "You two are together?" Anan followed behind him, his head full of question marks. No, how could Mr. C tell at a glance? Xianxia nodded. Shui smiled. Yes, Sister E is my girlfriend, Anan. Sure, Ingdi actually has such a childish side. Si Chuanbai was indeed a top manager. His first reaction was from the perspective of their work. Then, are you going to make it public? This time it was Shui's turn to nod. However, Xianxia said straightforwardly, "What if you two break up?" Shui. Chapter 457. They had been officially dating for less than an hour, right? She was already considering a breakup. Anan kept coughing and hinting wildly. Sister E, your way of thinking is too dangerous. Anan, is your throat feeling uncomfortable? I'll make you some loquat cream when we get back. Xianxia blinked and looked at Shui. She said in a gentle and serious tone, "From a logical point of view, there is indeed a possibility of us breaking up. Wouldn't we have to make our relationship public again? Wouldn't that be too troublesome?" Shui. So, the reason why the little girl didn't want to make their relationship public was because she was worried about breaking up? His voice was low and hoarse as he said faintly, "Sister E, do you think I'm troublesome?" That's not what I meant. I meant that making it public would be troublesome." Shui lowered his eyes. His thick and long eyelashes cast a faint shadow on his cold white skin. He looked pitiful. "You don't have to say any more. I understand. I'll just listen to Sister E." Xianxia wavered. She curled her toes and struggled for a few seconds. Then she said, "Why don't we make it public?" Shui raised his chiseled chin and his dark eyes lit up. "Xianxia, have you agreed to give me a status?" "That's great. So in Sister Yi's heart, I'm not someone who can't be seen in public. Xiangyi was anxious. How could she forget that Shui was a fragile? Her man was her big baby. She had to pamper him. How could she hurt his delicate heart? No, I don't think of you that way. Then what does Sister Yi think of me? She thinks you're very good. Thus Sichuanbai and Anan watched helplessly as the little girl wrapped in a small blanket shyly flattered Shui. Anan. Shuringdi, even the tea sage would call you an expert when he sees you. Sichuanbai looked like he couldn't bear to watch. What gentlemanly, refined, and ascetic persona. Fake, it was all fake. Dogs were Shui's true nature. Director Zhu and the others were so busy that their feet barely touched the ground, but they still took the time to visit Xiangyi. An apology would definitely be necessary. After all, if one were to look at it carefully, this was considered a mistake on the part of the production team. But I have good news to share with you, Sister Yi. Director Zhu smiled. Sister Yi, that man is a fugitive. The authorities have wanted him for a long time, but this person is very good at anti-reconnaissance. It seems that he used to be an international mercenary. This time he was forced into a corner by the carpet search and wanted to commit one last crime. He didn't expect to be caught by you. Xiangyi said, the credit doesn't belong to me alone. I have to thank Junhan and the others. We worked together to catch him. Director Zhu's impression of Xiangyi soared. She was brave enough to stand up for what was right, but she didn't claim credit for herself. She really left a good impression on him. How's Su Tumi? Xiangyi asked. Director Zhu hurriedly said, she's much better. The doctor told her to rest quietly. Is that, ahem? Director Zhu, feel free to speak your mind. Director Zhu said embarrassedly, she has been clamoring to stay in the same ward as you. If there are no empty beds, she can sleep in the same bed as you. Su Tumi was really frightened and had already cried several times. Xiangyi said, I'm not staying in the hospital. If she wants to rest quietly, can she stay anywhere? Director Zhu said, the doctor doesn't have any special requirements. Xiangyi thought about it and said, why don't you take her to my house? There are many empty rooms in my house. Shui, who was at the side, slowly typed a question mark. Chapter 458. Known facts. Frowny face. I have a girlfriend. My girlfriend has a girlfriend. Request. Who can sleep in my girlfriend's bed first, me or her friend? The answer was self-evident. Shui licked the roof of her mouth with the tip of her tongue, feeling slightly displeased. Hearing this, Director Zhu's eyes lit up. That's great. Sister Yi, why don't I go back with you? Shui coughed with a sullen expression. Only then did Director Zhu realize how ambiguous his words were. He hurriedly explained, don't get me wrong, I'm just worried about the filming of this episode. If we redo the filming, Su Tumi won't be able to adjust her state of mind for a while. I don't intend to force you, but there won't be enough time for this episode. Sister Yi's words reminded me that I can divide this episode into 3 rounds of games. The 3rd round will be a vacation and leisure time after the workout. At this moment, Director Zhu still didn't know that in a few years' time, National Mass Workout would not only become the most popular variety show in the country, but it would also become a global hit. They even bought the copyright of the show overseas and took it back to make it into a local show. However, it was not as popular as National Mass Workout. Xiangyi didn't have any objections to that. I have no objections. Director, you can make the arrangements as you see fit. I will try my best to cooperate. Director Zhu rubbed his hands and looked at Shui with a chuckle. Since we're all going, you definitely won't be able to avoid being in the spotlight. Shui said indifferently, I'm fine with anything. Apart from 2 Under One Roof, Shui had never been on any variety show before. It wasn't that the production team of National Mass Workout had never invited him, but he had always turned them down. She didn't expect him to agree this time. Director Zhu happily went to discuss with the scriptwriter and planner. Before leaving, he didn't forget to close the door. Director Zhu suddenly reacted. A single man and a single woman in a room. Are these 2 people really a couple? Director Zhu was extremely efficient and he soon came up with a plan for the next filming. When Su Tumi heard that she could go to Xiangyi's house, she forced herself to perk up and insisted on riding in Xiangyi's ordinary car instead of her luxurious nanny van. Although Xiangyi had become the boss of Tomato Entertainment, she still used the same equipment when she went out. She didn't really care about these things. When Su Tumi got into the car, Shui happened to be there too. He was confused. Senior Shi, aren't you going to take your own car? Shui's expression did not change. Sister E is injured. I'm here to take care of her. Oh. Su Tumi answered foolishly. After getting into the car, she sat down beside Xianxia. She was barefaced and her skin was in good condition. It was just that her face was very pale without a trace of blood. Drink some hot water. Xianxia handed him a thermos. Su Tumi unscrewed the lid of the cup and found that there were wolfberries and red dates soaked in it. She took a sip and felt that it was warm. Her eyes stung and she felt like crying again. Xianxia asked, "Are you okay?" Hearing her soft and gentle voice, Su Tumi couldn't hold it in any longer. Humans seem to be like that. When they're alone, they can be very strong, but when others suddenly show concern for them, they can instantly break down all their psychological defenses. Su Tumi burst into tears. She cried so hard that she lost her image as tears and snot flowed out. Shui looked away and looked at the scenery outside the window. Apart from Tutu, he couldn't be bothered to comfort the other women no matter how miserably they cried. Xianxia said, Su Tumi. Su Tumi sobbed uncontrollably and asked, "Do you despise me?" In the next second, Xianxia patted her shoulder and gestured to her. "You can lean here and cry." Chapter 459. Su Tumi was stunned. The young girl in front of her had a calm gaze that seemed to be immersed in the gentle moonlight. Su Tumi pounced on her neck and burst into tears. She sobbed and said, "Why are you so nice?" Xianxia gently patted her back and said, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." "Wu Xianxia, if you were a man, I'd definitely marry you." Xianxia was about to coax Su Tumi, but she met Shui's resentful and aggrieved gaze. It was as if she was a heartless man who had abandoned his wife and child. She cleared her throat and said, "It's impossible between us." However, Su Tumi burst into tears and hugged Xianxia. "I don't dare to close my eyes. Once I do, I'll see that man." Xianxia allowed her to hug her tightly and said softly, "Are you hungry? I have a lot of pigs at home, I can kill one for you." Su Tumi stopped crying. "Or chicken. I can make a large plate of chicken and eat it with noodles." Su Tumi burped and said, "But I still want to drink chicken soup. I haven't had it in a long time. My manager has been telling me to lose weight." Xianxia said, "Kill another one then." Su Tumi exclaimed, "Wow, can I be good friends with you for the rest of my life?" They arrived at the manor. Li Jinyu looked at Director Zhu and the others in confusion. "Aren't they the big shots of variety show directors?" Director Zhu greeted enthusiastically, "You're Shaoli, right? I've watched your show. It turns out that daily filming can be so interesting." "You flatter me, Director Zhu. Your show is the most exciting. It's a textbook example." The two shook hands and Li Jinyu felt like he was dreaming. He even secretly told Ruan Qing that he wasn't going to wash his hands for the next 2 days. Unsurprisingly, Ruan Qing rolled her eyes at him. As the deputy director, Ruan Qing had interacted with Director Zhu before. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Ruan Qing asked him about his intentions. Director Zhu said, "Hey, there was an accident during the recording. In order to make up for the time, we're going to add a game called Reward Time. We want the feeling of relaxation after a workout or even a vacation." Li Jinyu instinctively said, "As expected of you, Director Zhu. I can't believe he could come up with such a plan." Director Zhu smiled and said, "We have to thank Sister E for lending us the venue. Alright then, you guys get back to work. I'll go and shoot now." The team of National Citizen was mature and efficient. A group of people methodically installed fixed cameras, set up sound recording equipment, and filmed environmental materials. Li Jinyu gradually felt that something was wrong. "What? Are you here to steal my job?" His eyes widened. We're both filming daily life. How can I be afraid of a big shot? I can't take it anymore, I want to die." Ruan Qing said, "Finish today's work before you die." Li Jinyu said, "Sister Ruan, you seem like a capitalist who exploits workers in a capitalist society." Ruan Qing smiled. "Since you've said so, then let's work overtime today." Li Jinyu's wails could be heard in the courtyard. Director Zhu originally thought that Su Tumi wouldn't be able to adjust for the time being, but he didn't expect her to go out with Xianxia after resting for a while. He hurriedly got the cameraman to follow them, thinking that he could capture the romantic scene of Su Tumi having afternoon tea in the glass greenhouse or feeding the pigeons by the fountain. He then saw the two of them stop in front of the chicken coop. Which one do you like? I'll kill it and make soup for you. Director Zhu was dumbfounded. Chapter 460. Su Tumi's eyes lit up and she exclaimed, that one. It looks very tasty. Director Zhu was dumbfounded. Shouldn't you decline at such a time? Why the hell did you just choose the chicken? Don't you have the burden of being an actress? Xianxia nodded and said calmly, okay, kill it. Director Zhu was dumbfounded. Oh my god, Sister E, do you still remember that your hand is fractured? She killed it just like that. She's simply a domineering queen who has the power to kill. However, he also had to admit that the variety show was superb. The natural laughs were far more exciting than the ones that were carefully written and acted out. Xianxia took Su Tumi for a stroll and happily picked up 2 old hens, a lamb and a few fish in the fish basket. She released the small fish and only kept the 2 big ones. Although Xianxia wanted to do it herself, she was still stopped. The final plan was that everyone would process the ingredients together and the recipe would be decided by Xianxia. It had to be said that such an atmosphere of cooking together added a touch of warmth to the film. Jun Han, by Wuxia and the others followed Shui to process the ingredients and recorded a lot of material. Unlike the others who kept a low profile, Bai Wuxia had been striking up a conversation with Shui, creating the feeling that the two of them were close friends. Seeing that he was trying to ride on Shui's coattails, Jun Han felt uncomfortable both physically and psychologically and quietly distanced himself from him. As for Su Tumi, she was placed in front of the French window. The incense burner on the table was filled with a soothing incense and there was a cup of hot and sweet milk tea beside her hand. Xianxia placed a small furry blanket on her knees to cover her legs and sat cross-legged on the rattan chair unscrupulously. Su Tumi lamented, I'm living like a princess here. Xianxia said seriously, you're the little princess. To be honest, Su Tumi had heard such flattery countless times but she felt that Xianxia's compliments were different from others. You're the princess who's running away. Xianxia smiled and said, Your Highness, cheers. The ceramic cups made a crisp sound in the air, symbolizing the friendship between the 2 girls. Director Zhu did not assign any more tasks to them. It really felt like a vacation. Sipping afternoon tea in the glass greenhouse, driving a drone in Little Rabbit Farm, fishing leisurely by the pond, picking fruits in the orchard, tranquil and beautiful, unhurried and leisurely. At night, the daily live stream of 2 Under One Roof began. Director Zhu still wanted to shoot some more material for dinner, so he discussed with Li Jinyu to have a joint production between the 2 variety shows. Although it was said that they were promoting each other, Li Jinyu knew that they were the ones who had the advantage. After all, National Citizen was much more popular than 2 Under One Roof. There were all sorts of dishes for dinner. Not every artiste was good at cooking. Some of the dishes looked very dark. Some people in the live stream were unhappy. That egg is already black, how can we eat it? I'm speechless. What does Xianxia mean by this? There are so many people here, is this how she entertains them? How long has it been? She's already become a pampered heiress who doesn't even bother to cook. As soon as those pop-up comments floated past, Su Tumi pushed the plate of devilish tomato scrambled eggs in front of Xianxia and blinked expectantly. Sister E, try it, I made it for you myself. The netizens in the live stream were speechless. Chapter 461. All of a sudden the pop-up comments were filled with laughter. The slap in the face came so quickly it's like a tornado. Ha, Su Tumi's terrible cooking is amazing. Some people are so shameless they just don't learn from their mistakes, huh? Why does Sister E have to cook? She's a guest too, not a chef, okay? Cooking is a favor, not a duty. Please don't use moral coercion. Wang Yao's presence soon livened up the atmosphere. The netizens also came to a sudden realization that there were so many people there today, not guests but for the recording of the show. I suggest everyone raise a glass to thank Sister E for her bravery today, and thank Sister E for providing us with the venue. Wang Yao said. Su Tumi said, Sister E is injured so she can't drink. I'll drink on her behalf. She picked up the glass and downed both hers and Xianxi's in one gulp. Wang Yao's brain twitched and he shouted, Get together. Get together. The others didn't know what was going on and hence followed suit. In the live stream. Yaowa. Stop your dangerous comments. Sweet sister x soft sister, sweet and soft couple, I'm going to stand for 1,000,000 seconds. I'm dying of laughter. Shui has changed from a wife-coveting maniac to a wife-coveting Wang Yao. Wang Yao was yelling enthusiastically when he suddenly felt a chill on his back. He rubbed his arms only to realize that he had gotten goosebumps. He turned his head sluggishly, only to see that Shui was staring at him with a smirk. Wang Yao shuddered and sobered up. Sister Yi, your cat is so clingy, huh? He stiffly changed the subject. Ever since Xianxia returned, Xiao had been nestled in her arms and refused to go anywhere. It wrapped its paws around her neck coquettishly. Xianxia knew that it was worried about her, so she had no choice but to let it be. She raised her hand and rubbed the back of Xiaofu's neck. Xianxia asked softly, "Do you want to drink goat milk?" Meow, it sounded coquettish. Shui reached out. "Give it to me, I'll hold it for a while." Xiaofu's face was full of rejection. If it was in the past, Xianxia would have given him a hug. But thinking of what Junhan said, she asked, "Did you bully Xiaofu behind my back?" He took it for a run and even threatened to sterilize it if it didn't listen. Shui. Oh no, this is bad. The girl's cheeks puffed up slightly. You're not allowed to bully it in the future. Shui narrowed his eyes. His long and narrow eyes revealed a hint of danger. Even the cat was more important than him? The man exuded an oppressive aura, and the atmosphere at the table became much colder. Xiaofu, on the other hand, looked at Shui with an expression that said, "This Hu is the most favored one." The untimely couple fans expressed that they had bumped into each other again. He's jealous, that D*Emin man is jealous. There's always someone who can deal with you. If not, then I'll change to another cat. I suspect that this cat has really gained sentience and has real evidence. Green tea Axax, brother, this family can't tolerate you anymore. Did you do something wrong? Don't make things difficult for me. You'd better pack up and leave. While the netizens were having fun, they heard Bai Wuxia say shamelessly, "Sister Yi was very brave today, but if I hadn't brought a rope over, that fugitive would have definitely run away." Everyone was shocked speechless by his confusing speech. Junhan in particular had always been ashamed and felt that he was too cowardly for not stepping forward to help. Bai Wuxia's words had directly overturned his worldview. In an instant, everyone was dumbfounded. Bai Wuxia was still speaking with confidence. Chapter 462. Ah, my dear viewers, you guys have no idea how dangerous the situation was today. Bai Wuxia's words piqued the curiosity of the netizens who were watching the live stream. So, what exactly happened today? I seem to have seen Director Zhu's Weibo post about Sister Yi saving the damsel in distress. Who did Sister Yi save? I'm dying of curiosity. Teacher Bai, hurry up and tell me. Director Zhu's expression changed slightly and he picked up his glass. Come on, Teacher Bai, let's toast. He deliberately changed the topic, but Bai Wuxia was determined to take credit and hence clinked glasses with him perfunctorily. While Xianxia went to make goat milk powder for Xiaofu, he continued to narrate. Our filming location in the afternoon is on the mountain. Who would have thought that there would be a fugitive hiding in the mountains? I heard that he has been wanted for a long time and he's a serial killer who specifically targets women. However, Xiaosu ran into him and the situation was critical at that time. Little Su had been dragged away. Fortunately, she was quick-witted and called for help loudly. As soon as I heard her voice, I immediately rushed over. I thought that since Xiaosu is a girl, it's only right for a man to protect a woman, isn't it? Besides, I'm old and Xiaosu and the others are like my children in my eyes. Of course, I have to protect them from harm. The atmosphere at the dining table was extremely strange. Junhan was so embarrassed that he kept digging his toes into the ground. The other artistes involved in the filming looked at each other in dismay. Su Tumi was reminded of those painful memories and she subconsciously bit her lower lip while her hand that was holding the chopsticks trembled. She put down her chopsticks and gripped the hem of her clothes so tightly that her veins were popping out. They were particularly obvious on her fair skin. The negative emotions were overwhelming and pressing down on him. Su Tumi thought that she had already gotten over it, but in fact she hadn't. She was like a drowning person who Xianxia brought to the surface of the water to take a breath of fresh air. After a short moment of salvation, she was forcefully pressed back into the water. There were more comments in the live stream. Oh my god, reality is more exciting than television dramas. Teacher Bai is so nice, if only I could have a senior like him. Hey, Su Tumi was dragged away? Then could she have already been he? Seriously, Su Tumi, Teacher Bai saved her. Isn't she going to thank him for saving her life? He was even fawning over Xianxia. Was it because he wanted to play with whoever was popular? If Teacher Bai isn't popular now, could it be that she doesn't even care about him? Bai Wuxia then used the spring and autumn style and the art of language to secretly change the concept and add fuel to the fire. He bragged about himself and even made a concluding speech. Humans are humans because we are different from cold-blooded animals. We have warmth and feelings. When you see others suffering, if you can help them, then help them. People love all living things and all living things love each other. For a moment, many netizens felt that he had a halo behind him. The comment section praised him to the skies. Teacher Bai, awesome. Well said. She's the clear stream of the entertainment industry. To be honest, Bai Wuxia's words are really good. It's not just pure kindness. In a sense, it has risen to the level of ethics, morality, and even religion. It's a whole other world. He's an idealist and an ascetic in life. Unfortunately, such an artist isn't popular. Instead, a pretty face like Xianxia is. It's simply intolerable. Chapter 463. Some netizens expressed their dissatisfaction. Sometimes people only believed what they saw and heard. They believed the information that came in from the outside world without thinking about it. At this moment, everyone felt that Bai Wuxia's image was extremely high and mighty. As for Xianxia's injury in order to save Su Tumi, it seemed to have become a trivial matter. Jun Han and the others were too embarrassed to expose Bai Wuxia. Su Tumi was in a terrible emotional state and couldn't even utter a single syllable. Shi Sui happened to be absent too, and little Shiji bit her pants and called her to watch them display their affection. By a freak combination of factors, Bai Wuxia actually succeeded in pretending to be cool. Even Li Jinyu was fooled into a daze. Director Zhu, who was beside him, had a sullen expression on his face. Others might not know the details, but he saw it clearly in the director's office. Bai Wuxia didn't save Su Tumi at all. He left her in the lurch right from the beginning. It would be fine if he didn't save her, but how could he have the cheek to take all the credit and even use this matter to create hype? Bai Wuxia's face was flushed with success. Little did he know that in Director Zhu's heart he had already been blacklisted. Little Su, have some warm soup to warm your stomach. Bai Wuxia took the initiative to scoop a bowl of chicken soup and handed it to Su Tumi. Although the chicken was handled by someone else, Xianxia was the one who added the spices. She stewed it in the pot for 2 hours and the aroma was overwhelming. Before taking it out of the pot, she skimmed off the oil and sprinkled a little salt on it. A sip of the soup was enough to make one sigh in satisfaction. Previously, Xianxia scooped 2 bowls of soup for Su Tumi, who drank all of them. However, when she saw the soup that Bai Wuxia scooped for her, Su Tumi felt nauseous and somehow thought that Bai Wuxia's face was that of the fugitive. She retched and left the banquet in a disheveled state. At this moment there was an uproar in the live stream. Isn't she too rude? Teacher Bai scooped soup for her, but not only is she not grateful, she even pretended to vomit. Wow, it's no wonder she's the vase fairy's friend. Birds of a feather flock together. Annoying people play with annoying people. Awesome. Bai Wuxia pretended to smooth things over for Su Tumi and said, "Ah, little Su probably hasn't gotten used to it yet. Girls will definitely take a long time to get over such things." There was a huge wave of comments praising him for his gentleness, meticulousness, and high EQ. Jun Han couldn't help but retort, "Senior, can you not mention this matter in front of big sister Tumi? Every time you mention it, you're hurting her." Bai Wuxia was a little embarrassed. He acted like a life mentor and said, "Am I not doing this for her own good? No matter what happened, one had to face it bravely. Only by daring to face hardships can one truly walk out of the shadows. How can you just think about running away?" His ability to pour out chicken soup was top-notch. How could Jun Han win against him in an argument? He was rendered speechless and could only sulk. All of a sudden, a clear and indifferent voice slowly rang out, "Is there a rule that says you can't escape?" Everyone looked over in unison. Under the blazing bright lights, the girl stood there quietly with the cat in her arms. Bai Wuxia felt guilty and didn't speak as confidently as before. Well, it makes sense. It does make sense, but there are differences between individuals. Why can't we escape? It's not shameful or ridiculous to escape. It's just a right to choose. Chapter 464. Bai Wuxia tried to use chicken soup to defeat Xiangyi. Little Xiang, if everyone thinks like you, wouldn't society be in a mess? It's like if all women are dink and don't have children, wouldn't the human race be extinct? Therefore people must be strong and not weak. When the heavens are about to give a great responsibility to a person, they must first suffer. Sorry, senior, I can't agree with your point of view. First of all, reproduction is not a necessary social obligation for women. Forcing it on women is a manifestation of gender discrimination. Second, people have different personalities. It's good to be extroverted, but it doesn't mean that introverted people have to be extroverted. Similarly, I'm not denying the positive meaning of being strong. I just think that there is a limit to how much people can bear. If it's painful enough, why should we be strong? What's the big deal about running away or even crying? Senior, do you think this is something worth laughing at? Xiangyi interrupted him, which made Bai Wuxia feel incredulous. He was a senior. Xiangyi was just a junior. How could she interrupt him? Bai Wuxia was indeed popular when he was young. Later, his acting skills did not improve. His acting skills became routines and templates, and gradually he had fewer and fewer acting roles. However, he was still a senior. Now that he was older, he would be respectfully called a senior wherever he went. Being questioned by Xiangyi, Bai Wuxia was furious and unconsciously put on airs. What do you know? You're just a little girl. You've only studied for a few days, yet you dare to criticize others? Xiangyi did not react violently when she heard this. She said calmly, since senior insists on his point of view, then I think we have nothing to say. Communication was first established on the basis that the two must be on the same channel. If it was a cross-server chat, then it would be meaningless. Xiangyi had never forced others to agree with her character. In the live broadcast room, Xiangyi's simple words made countless people fall silent. Yes. From childhood to adulthood, no matter what hardships they encountered, they always heard that they had to face it and overcome it. But today they heard a different kind of voice. It turned out that running away was not shameful, and being weak was not wrong. Many people in front of the screen had a flicker of light in their eyes, revealing a trace of confusion. There was spicy tutu, but something interesting happened. Bai Wuxia seems to have dropped out of middle school. Where did he get the guts to be so fierce to Sister E? Sister E graduated from one of the top 2 universities in the country. I'm dying of laughter. Does the internet really have no memory? Back then, Teacher Bai kept saying that he was going to win the Nobel Prize for acting. At that time he was ridiculed by the crowd. My boss is exactly the same as Bai Wuxia. You talk to him about money, he talks to you about life, you talk to him about life, and he talks to you about overtime. At the same time he also talks about how the wolf culture 996 is good for young people. Everyone wake up. This kind of person doesn't want to impart any wisdom of life to you at all. He's just using the form of preaching to satisfy his own selfish desires. The atmosphere at the table was very tense. Bai Wuxia put on airs. He thought that even if Xiangyi apologized to him, he would show her who was the boss. He wanted her to know that she had to follow the rules when dealing with her seniors. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi ignored him and turned her head to ask Junhan, who was beside her, "Where's Su Tumi?" Junhan was stunned. "She seems to have gone to the bathroom." "Thank you." Xiangyi nodded and picked up the tissue box and small blanket at the side. "I'll go accompany her." Chapter 465. The young girl's tone was natural and casual, but it made Junhan's heart race. It wasn't the kind of heartbeat that came from love. Using his poor vocabulary to describe it, the most intuitive feeling he had was, he was moved by her gentleness. Junhan suddenly understood why so many people liked Xiangyi. The so-called popularity with the audience was actually not metaphysics, but rather, it was just because that person had a unique personality and charisma. In the bathroom, Su Tumi sat on the ground and swiped the screen of her cell phone with trembling fingers. She had lived to the age of 22 and had always been the center of attention. She lived a peaceful life and was always successful in everything she did. Even her entry into the entertainment industry was smooth sailing and her fans treated her like a princess. It was the first time she had come into contact with online violence that was even more terrifying than being called a baldy. "Who told you to wear so little? Serves you right. Did they really do that to you? He said it's so dirty. Why did they pick on you instead of others? There must be a reason. I really can't stand your aggrieved expression. You must be very regretful that the other party didn't succeed." Wow, Su Tumi, you're actually still in the mood to eat. If I were you, I'd take 10 showers in the bathtub. Through the screen she had no idea who the person opposite her was, but she could feel the malice. The more she saw, the redder Su Tumi's eyes became. Is it really my fault? Is it because I'm wearing too little, because there's something wrong with me, and because I'm not a perfect victim? Knock knock. Someone knocked on the door. Immediately afterwards, Xianxia asked in a gentle voice, Su Tumi, are you okay? Whoosh. Su Tumi covered her mouth as tears rolled down her cheeks. It was so hot that the back of her hand hurt. She sobbed and said, Don't come in, I'm just going to the bathroom. As she spoke, she pressed the switch of the faucet, after which the sound of running water filled the air. Xianxia stayed silent for a few seconds and said, Okay, I'm not going in, I'll be right outside the door. I can chat with you or stay silent. Su Tumi heard a sound coming from behind the door. It seemed that Xianxia had sat down. A door separated the two of them. They were very close to each other. One of them spoke clumsily, while the other was gentle and didn't expose her. I just wanted to tell you that I'm here. Hearing this, Su Tumi couldn't help but burst into tears. Wow, you're so annoying. I hate you, Xianxia. Then, sorry. Xianxia was a little helpless. I just feel that when you're sad, you'll feel even worse if there's no one by your side. Because she had experienced it before, she didn't want Su Tumi to experience it again. If you don't like it, I'll leave now. I'll leave the tissue box and blanket here. If you need them, you can open the door and take them. I won't let anyone disturb you. Before he could finish, Su Tumi opened the door and wailed miserably. You're not allowed to leave. Xianxia said softly, Okay, I won't leave. I don't really hate you. Su Tumi cried until the tip of her nose was red. What I hate is the chicken soup that guy mentioned. I also hate myself for crying. If you don't like his chicken soup, do you want another bowl of my chicken soup? Xianxia asked with a smile. Su Tumi pursed her lips and cried until her shoulders shook. He's already touched it, he's tainted the pot of chicken soup. Xianxia said, It's okay, there's still half a pot. I'll get you a spoon, you can drink from the pot. Su Tumi suddenly felt much better. Chapter 466. In the small kitchen. The firewood in the stove was still warm. Even though so much time had passed, the chicken soup was still piping hot. Su Tumi held the large spoon that Xianxia gave her and blew on it before gulping it down. It was so delicious that she clenched her fists tightly. Before cooking, the oily parts of the old hen were removed and freshly picked mushrooms were added to absorb the oil. Hence it wasn't greasy at all. The red dates and wolfberries not only gave the chicken soup a bright color, but also added just the right amount of sweetness. After drinking the soup, she took a sip of the mushrooms that were filled with the rich chicken soup. It was as if fireworks had exploded in her head and all her feelings were summed up in 2 words. So fragrant. It's so fragrant, it's so fragrant. Su Tumi's eyes were watery, perhaps because of the heat of the pot or because she was touched. As for the poisonous chicken soup that Bai Wuxia mentioned, she had completely forgotten about it. Bai Wuxia? Who is he? Is it important? His words are nothing. Sister Yi's chicken soup is the best. Without Xianxia and Su Tumi around, the atmosphere at the dining table became even stranger. Bai Wuxia couldn't take it anymore and hence he spoke loudly again, trying to belittle Xianxia to prove that he was right. Confucius said that fathers and sons are related, monarchs and ministers are righteous, husband and wife are different, elders and children are orderly, and friends are trustworthy. It seemed that the rules of seniority had been completely forgotten by the youngsters. They don't even have the minimum respect for their elders. How ridiculous. He had always liked to quote from classics and often considered himself a cultured person because many artists in the entertainment industry had low academic qualifications. Many small-time artists didn't dare to say anything after being rebuked by him. Instead, they would feel ashamed because they were too ignorant. To his surprise, Junhan retorted, Mencius was the one who said that, right? Bai Wuxia was a little embarrassed and he pretended to be angry. What do you know? How dare you refute your senior just because you've read a few books? Junhan was speechless. I studied Chinese for my undergraduate degree, so I still have some knowledge about literature. Senior, do you think I can't even read? All of a sudden the comments in the live stream were divided. I just checked. It's indeed a quote from Mencius, but Junhan seems to have no EQ by pointing it out like this. What's wrong with our Han pointing out seniors' mistakes? What era is it now? You're still abiding by those feudal dregs. While the netizens were arguing ferociously, Shui returned after feeding little Shiji. Bai Wuxia tried to get him to take a side and repeated what had happened just now. At that time he had chosen the aspects that were beneficial to him. In the end he said vehemently, "Tell me, shouldn't we listen to Confucius? Am I right?" Shui said indifferently, "Anyway, I know that Zhou Xian didn't say that." Bai Wuxia. He had no idea why Shui would mention this person, so he asked subconsciously, "Who is Zhou Xian?" In an instant, the other people at the table tried their best to hold back their laughter. The live stream became a sea of joy. "Ha, Shui is so sarcastic. If you know how to talk, then talk more. Where can I buy your works?" Is there anyone who doesn't know that Bai Wuxia has been pretending to be an intellectual all these years? Amidst the awkwardness, Junhan said excitedly, "I know how to answer this question." Using the tone of a primary school student reading aloud, he said, "Zhou Xian, a famous writer and thinker. Lu Sun." Chapter 467. When he heard the name Lu Sun, Bai Wuxia was stunned as if he had been struck by lightning. What? The netizens in the livestream were already mocking her. Han, are you a primary school chicken? What the hell is with the tone of this poem recitation? I'm going to laugh my head off. First she said that Mencius was Confucius, and now she doesn't know that Zhou Xian is Lu Sun. Bai Wuxia is the truly uncultured one. Let me give you a few examples. Sister E is from a top 2 university. Su Tumi is from the capital city drama academy. Junhan's school is a little worse, but it's still a top-tier university. Although Shui didn't go to university, she was the top scholar of the college entrance examination back then. Bai Wuxia is the only one who didn't finish junior high school. After a round of comparison, everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream and came to a sudden realization. It turned out that Bai Wuxia was the one with the lowest educational background among the people at the table. Of course, it didn't matter if he had a low education. The tolerance of modern society was still very high. However, Bai Wuxia's usual image was that of an intellectual. This time it could be said that his image had collapsed, and it had collapsed completely. Bai Wuxia came to his senses and flew into a rage out of humiliation. Shui must have done it on purpose. Otherwise, why didn't he directly mention Lu Sun, but Zhou Xian? Wasn't this deliberately making things difficult for him? After cursing Shui's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart, he pretended that nothing had happened on the surface. He laughed and said, I'm getting old. My memory is getting worse. I'm not like you young people who can remember it just by reciting it. Everyone, it would be a pity if you didn't use your face to cover the city walls. Director Zhu was even more embarrassed. He felt that he had lost too much face in front of Li Jinyu. Thinking about how Xianxia had suffered such a serious injury in order to save someone, and now she was disgusted by this kind of person, she couldn't help but want to compensate Li Jinyu, so she said, I heard that your overseas version hasn't passed the review yet? Li Jinyu said thoughtlessly, it seems to be going through the process. There's no rush. I'm already very satisfied that it can be broadcasted locally. Director Zhu's heart was as clear as a mirror. He said he was going through the process, but who knew what step he was stuck at? There were definitely people who didn't want 2 under 1 roof to become popular abroad. He pondered for 2 seconds and said, I'll help you ask around. Maybe your overseas version will be broadcast earlier. Li Jinyu was dumbfounded. There was such a good thing. Was he some kind of European emperor? Why did it not only fall from the sky but also into his mouth every time? In order to cover up his previous mistakes, Bai Wuxia kept feeding him chicken soup more frequently. He was like a walking life mentor, spreading the truth wherever he went. However, there was a saying in this world, the more you talk, the more mistakes you make. If it was a recorded broadcast, then there was still a chance for post-production editing to remedy the situation. Unfortunately, today was a joint event between National Citizen and 2 Under 1 Roof that was being broadcasted live. He originally had a group of hipster and bourgeois fans who had specially come to watch the live broadcast to support him. But when they heard Bai Wuxia's chicken soup, that was full of flaws, they were really confused. Does Bai Wuxia have real skills? Why does it sound so weird? Shui didn't say anything, but she raised her eyebrows slightly when he mentioned Xianxia. Why is there a saying in ancient times that men are in charge of external affairs and women are in charge of internal affairs? Of course it makes sense. I can't stand Xiangyi's flamboyant personality. She's a girl after all. She should just stay at home and do the laundry and cook. Who would like her to show up in public like a man? Chapter 468. In the live stream. What kind of confusing statement is this? Why does Bai Wuxia look like he's been bewitched? How dare he sow discord in front of the wife-protecting demon? Welcome to the live broadcast. The more Bai Wuxia spoke, the more enthusiastic he became. During the recording of the show, she's so keen on being in the limelight. She loves to show off. In everything, going too far is as bad as falling short. Besides, she has no respect for her elders and doesn't take her seniors seriously. In the next second, Shui said indifferently, in Sister Yi's eyes, there's the sea of stars, the tranquility of life, flowers, grass, chickens, ducks, pigs and geese, but there's no trash. Whoosh. Bai Wuxia's expression froze, and then he looked at Shui as if he had seen a ghost. The others at the dining table were speechless. Jun Han clenched his fists in excitement. As expected of Shui, he's awesome. Bai Wuxia gritted his teeth. Shui, what do you mean? Nothing. Shui smiled faintly. Her temperament was gentle, and her tone could even be considered gentle, but her eyes were indifferent. I just feel that Sister Yi is such a good girl, yet she's being criticized by some people who don't know what she is. I just feel that, it's ridiculous and ridiculous. Bai Wuxia was about to explode in anger. After all, he had been popular before. Yet Shui actually said that he was someone who doesn't know what kind of person he is. This was simply worse than being slapped in public. In the director's office, Li Jinyu was dumbfounded, and so was Director Zhu next to him. No one expected Shui to rebuke someone. Wan Qing, on the other hand, crossed her arms and seemed to be deep in thought. Is she defending her sovereignty? All along, Shui and Xiangyi's relationship during the livestream had always been indifferent. The two of them didn't communicate much, but they gave off a comfortable vibe. However, things were different today. Shui was showing his possessiveness towards Xiangyi. Wan Qing curled her lips and clicked on Untimely Fashions chat. She then slowly posted on Weibo. I'm serious. In the live stream, the bullet screen had already exploded. There were so many people's faces could not be seen clearly. Asher Ingdi is so strong. Voice breaking. Shui doesn't care about anything else, but when you mention Sister Yi, she immediately switches into battle mode. Love. Bai Wuxia is really something. Of all people, he just had to go against Sister Yi. Isn't he just asking for trouble? Who said no one loves Sister Yi? Where's Spicy Tutu? Let me see your hands. It's the new year. Everyone, quickly think of a good location for the untimely wedding. How's the beach? The number of online viewers of Two Under One Roof had also reached an astonishing number, attracting the jealousy of countless peers. Recently, there had been a lot of people following the trend and doing live broadcast variety shows. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could only imitate and not surpass it. Nowadays, there were only a handful of people who could surpass 1 million online viewers. On the other hand, Two Under One Roof easily made millions of yuan. Tonight, it had soared to more than 9 million viewers. This figure made many people in the entertainment industry fall into deep thought. Why is only Two Under One Roof so popular? Where is its magic? Seeing that Bai Wuxia was about to flip the table, the doorbell of the living room suddenly rang. In order to ease the tense atmosphere, another senior took the initiative to help. Jun Han, go run an errand and see who's here. Seeing that Bai Wuxia had been defeated, Jun Han was in a good mood as he happily went to open the door. The first thing he saw was a bright and eye-catching silk banner. Chapter 469. Jun Han was originally standing in a sloppy manner, but when he saw the row of righteous police officers outside the door, he hurriedly straightened his back. All of a sudden, everyone in the livestream was complaining. He looks like me when I stood in a military stance during military training. Jun Han asked nervously, Police uncle, may I ask what you're doing? You don't have to call me uncle. Jun Han asked straightforwardly, Police uncle? You better call me uncle. By the way, is Miss Xiangyi here? Are we here to give her a silk banner? Huh. Jun Han was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly said, Yes, I'll go call Sister Yi over right now. He dashed to the small kitchen and shouted as he ran, "Sister E! Sister E! There's a silk banner for you." At this moment, Jun Han still didn't know that because of this video he would be made into a magical emoji pack. From then on he would occupy half of the ghostly beast section and even have a place in the emoji world. Meanwhile, Bai Wuxia was dumbfounded. The silk banner in the police officer's hand can't be for Xianxia, right? Xianxia washed her hands and came over. She had already dealt with the police officer who had given her the silk banner the last time, so she asked him if he had eaten dinner. The other party swallowed his saliva and then said seriously, "No, Miss Xianxia, thank you for your great contribution in solving the case of a major fugitive. This is a silk banner and a reward for you." He unfolded the silk banner and there were 8 words written on it: frowny face, courageous and righteous. A role model for young people. There was also a brand new check. After the cameraman got the other party's permission, he zoomed in and took a close-up. The amount was written on it: 200,000 yuan. The live stream was instantly shocked. I know about courageous and righteous acts, but what's with the major fugitive? This is the second time Sister E has received a silk banner, right? The police officer also gave one to Sister E during Mingxi Boys High School last time. Damn, a reward of 200,000 yuan is usually given to the most vicious criminals. What did this little vase do to earn so much money? Don't think too much, she must have provided some clues or something. With her small body, it's good enough that she doesn't cry when she sees a criminal. Many people thought that Xianxia might have seen the criminal and reported the case, but in the next second she was slapped in the face. Madam Xianxia, on behalf of the South City Police, I would like to express my gratitude and respect to you. Thank you for seeing injustice and lending a helping hand to capture the fugitive. All of them, stand at attention and salute. Several policemen straightened their bodies in unison and saluted Xianxia with a standard salute. No one knew better than them that if it weren't for Xianxia, the fugitive might have hurt Su Tumi or others, or he might have escaped and continued to commit crimes, leaving behind victims and broken families. However, Xianxia had ended all of this. Director Zhu cooperated with the investigation and sent a copy of the video to the officials. The group of men fell silent as they watched Xianxia fight with the other party. Her face was red from holding back her breath. As for Bai Wuxia, who stood by and watched them die, a few policemen glanced at Bai Wuxia. Although they didn't say anything, the disdain in their eyes was real. Xianxia bowed slightly and said in a humble and gentle manner, "Thank you. However, this isn't my credit alone. It's the result of the concerted efforts of Jun Han and the staff of National Citizen." Someone in the live stream raised a question. Hey, why didn't Sister E mention Bai Wuxia? Didn't he boast that he contributed the most? Chapter 470. Ha, that's right. Weren't you bragging to the heavens just now? Why are you so quiet now? I'm laughing my head off. Look carefully behind. Bai Wuxia is hiding from the camera. He must be feeling guilty. Bai Wuxia was burning with anxiety when he saw that the banner had been awarded to Xianxia. Wasn't this equivalent to slapping him in the face in front of millions of viewers? Bai Wuxia wanted to use the bathroom to get away with it, but for some reason a cameraman happened to block his way. Xiangxi's personal cameraman, Old Zhang, smiled at him meaningfully. You stole Sister Yi's credit and now you want to run away? Dream on. Bai Wuxia was speechless. Damn it, is this person crazy? He was already depressed enough. Not far away, Jun Han's applause could be heard. Good. Sister E is the best. Sister E is the best. He could be considered a primary school student. The others at the dining table knew what was going on and also applauded. For a moment, the scene was like a commendation ceremony where students went on stage to receive awards. Bai Wuxia was caught in the middle like an outlier. He had an awkward expression and didn't know whether to applaud or not. There was a lot of mocking laughter in the livestream, but there were also a few die-hard fans of Bai Wuxia who tried to defend him. Xianxia is stealing Teacher Bai's credit and honor, right? I'm speechless, she's getting all the limelight. If it weren't for Teacher Bai, would the vase fairy have gotten this banner? Teacher Bai looks so pitiful. He's already so old, yet he's still being isolated. Could it be that a certain female celebrity is leading a small team to ostracize Teacher Bai? Of course, these brainless comments were quickly rebutted by the Spicy Tutu fans. Sorry, our Sister E is just that outstanding. You're the only one who's awesome, who knows the truth, okay? Some people are pitiful and deserve sympathy, but Bai Wuxia brought this on himself, okay? Why didn't he use his eyes and brain? In reality, the policeman said a few more words of encouragement to Xianxia before leaving. Jun Han reacted quickly and took the silk banner from Xianxia. Sister Yi, your hand is injured. Let me take it for you. Let's interview. How does it feel to hold a silk banner for the first time? Shi Sui carelessly tempted Xiao Naofu with a piece of dried fish. She smiled lazily and said, "This isn't the first time our sister Yi has held a silk banner. Everyone. Why do I feel like you're even prouder than Sister Yi?" Xianxia pursed her lips, feeling a little embarrassed. It's really not my work alone. It's the result of everyone's hard work. Director Zhu, please help me distribute the money. Everyone has worked hard. Everyone expressed that the money was meant for Xianxia and they couldn't accept it. At this moment, Bai Wuxia suddenly appeared with a magnanimous look. Since you've said so, then I'll be the agent and divide the money. I don't want it. I'll give you more. Those who didn't know better would think that he was a noble person. Even the people who were criticizing Bai Wuxia hesitated and stopped typing. He doesn't seem that annoying after all. Bai Wuxia was very proud of himself. He felt that his ability to react on the spot was too brilliant. Look, didn't I just avert the danger and get a good impression of myself? Young people are still too inexperienced to fight with me. However, in the next moment the girl's calm and indifferent voice sounded. Senior, you're worrying too much. I never intended to give you this money. Chapter 471. Xianxi's voice fell. Apart from Shi Sui, everyone else's eyes widened in shock. Isn't Sister Yi a soft girl? How come she's even tougher than Shi Sui? A huge controversy broke out in the livestream. Some people felt that Xianxia was too rude, while others felt that there must be an inside story. More people sent links to the livestream of Two Under One Roof to invite their friends over. Hurry, come and watch the drama. The number of viewers in the livestream increased greatly, making countless peers in the industry cry. There must be a script, right? Otherwise, how can it be so exciting? First, Shi Sui insulted me, then Sister Yi confronted me head-on. Even a million screenwriters wouldn't dare to write such a script. Bai Wuxia's face instantly turned as black as the bottom of a pot. First, Shi Sui didn't know what was good for her. Then Xianxia didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Both of them didn't give me any face. What's the difference between this and slapping me in the face? Bai Wuxia was so angry that he laughed, looking like a loyal minister who had been framed. He was indignant and self-deprecating. I originally had good intentions, but I didn't expect that my good intentions would turn into a bad thing. Forget it, how can an old man like me join in the fun of you young people? He made it sound like he was really being ostracized and isolated. His acting skills were superb. Needless to say, this scene was quite infectious. Some netizens were emotionally swayed by his words, but then they heard Xianxia ask in confusion. Senior, are you illiterate? Jian Yi Yong Wei means to fight against illegal acts and protect others. Senior, you didn't do anything, so you're not entitled to this money in the first place, right? The girl wasn't arguing but was seriously questioning. Even her tone was as if she was discussing an academic issue. Everyone was speechless. Sister Yi is awesome. She spoke their minds. And she hit the nail on the head. Especially Jun Han, who secretly gave Xianxia a thumbs up with his hands hanging by his side. As expected of Sister Yi. Bai Wuxia, on the other hand, felt as if he had been punched in the face and almost fainted. He had been in the entertainment industry for so many years and was used to all kinds of plastic flowers on the surface, beating around the bush, making moves behind people's backs and fighting in the dark. But he had never seen anyone openly fall out with him. Xianxi's words and Bai Wuxia's reaction caused an uproar in the live broadcast room. F***ck, so Xianxia means that Bai Wuxia has been standing by and watching? This is too disgusting. She clearly didn't leave, but she still wants to steal the credit. You're really disrespectful. He's really insulting the stage name Bai Wuxia. Flawless white jade, a modest gentleman, was he worthy? He's not worthy. Bai Wuxia's fans were even more devastated. They tried their best to protect Bai Wuxia, but in the end they found out that Bai Wuxia was a coward. Who could bear this? You can choose not to save them. Although it's not morally justifiable, there's no legal obligation to ask for help. But you didn't save him, but you still boasted that you saved him. That's disgusting. Bai Wuxia was enraged to the extreme. You're slandering me. There are so many pairs of eyes watching. Do you think I'm the kind of person who would leave someone in the lurch? There was dead silence. Bai Wuxia panicked a little and looked at Jun Han first. Little Jun. Jun Han pretended to be crazy and said, "Ah ah ah ah." Bai Wuxia looked at another old actor, hoping that the other party would speak up for him on account of their many years of friendship. Old Gao said, "What did you say? I can't hear you clearly." I'm old, my hearing is bad." Chapter 472. No matter who Bai Wuxia looked at for help, no one spoke up for him. Bai Wuxia was really flustered and scared this time. The netizens also came to their senses. In a sense, not expressing their stance was also a way of expressing their stance. I've seen people who are unpopular, but I've never seen someone so unpopular. Everyone kicks a man who's down. Bai Wuxia is a good example of that saying. In other words, Bai Wuxia really didn't do anything, and he might even have left her in the lurch. That's why everyone is angry. The public opinion was one-sided, and apart from Bai Wuxia, there were only a few fans who were still clamoring. Gossip is a fearful thing, and 3 people make a tiger out of it. Public opinion can melt metal, and accumulation can destroy bones. Don't you guys have a conscience for treating an old artist like this? Who knows if these people are being threatened? It's ridiculous that there's no smoke without fire. If you have the guts, show me the evidence. I'm a skeptic and I don't believe in witnesses. I only believe in physical evidence. The planner of National Citizen happened to see this comment and showed it to Director Zhu. Director Zhu was speechless for a while. After pondering for a moment, he whispered a few words to Li Jianyu. Li Jianyu was particularly terrified after hearing this. That's not very nice, Director Zhu. I'm not worthy. There are some things that I can't say, so you can only lead the way. Director Zhu smiled bitterly. Do you want to see Sister Yi get criticized? Li Jianyu was silent. After spending so much time together, he had long been conquered by Sister Yi's culinary skills, her personality and charm. She was such a gentle and determined girl. If it weren't for him, she might not have been involved in the whirlpool of public opinion. Although he called Xianxia Sister Yi, he really treated Xianxia as his younger sister. Sister Yi deserved to be pampered and not be wronged at all. Li Jianyu, okay, I'll go. While the table was in a deadlock, Li Jianyu's voice suddenly rang out with a megaphone. Dear viewers, please keep your eyes peeled for National Mass Workout, on Saturday at 8 p.m. This episode will feature the newly crowned Best Actress Su Tumi, the powerful idol Jun Han and other celebrities, as well as our sister Yi and Shui. Of course, I'll also have 3 seconds of HD 4K footage. Welcome to the show. While the guests and audience were dumbfounded, he even coughed and said, Director Zhu, it's time to settle the advertising fees. In an instant, the netizens began to mock him. Why are you calling him Director Zhu? Call him Daddy. Son, why are your advertisements always so unexpected? Wow, there's actually a 3-second scene. Our Yuzi's online debut must be a flowery one. The audience didn't understand the deeper meaning, but Bai Wuxia understood instantly. Director Zhu didn't seem to say anything, but he was actually expressing his stance through Li Jianyu. Video. The production team must have a video. Bai Wuxia was scared, angry, hateful, and regretful. His emotions reached a critical point and he couldn't help venting all of them to Xianxia. Get lost. Get lost. What right does an artist like you have to participate in the recording? If it weren't for Xianxia, would I have turned a blind eye to her plight? If it weren't for Xianxia, would I have ended up like a clown? Bai Wuxia's facial features were distorted, and his originally elegant and handsome face became extremely menacing. Everyone was watching. The slender and fair girl glanced at him indifferently and said calmly, I don't mean to offend you. I'm just reminding you that this is my home. Chapter 473. This is my home. Those words were like a curse that kept repeating in Bai Wuxia's mind. He had completely lost control of his expression, as if he had heard something extremely terrifying. Bai Wuxia had never watched Two Under One Roof, nor had he heard the conversation between Xianxia and Director Zhu. Hence he had no idea that the manor belonged to Xianxi's family. At this moment his pupils constricted and he almost vomited blood. Such a large manor actually belongs to Xianxi's family? Bai Wuxia choked for a long time before saying, Okay, I'll leave then. I'll leave, alright? He thought that someone would more or less try to persuade him to stay. However, something awkward happened. Be it the veteran actors Jun Han or director Zhu, no one in the production team of National Citizen tried to persuade him to stay. That was not the worst. The one who dealt the most critical blow came from Shui. The man was elegant and gentle. Sorry for the inconvenience. Take care, I won't see you out. Bai Wuxia was speechless. He was so angry that his head hurt. He didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt a metallic taste in his throat. The netizens also flooded the livestream with comments. Get lost, I won't see you out. I'm dying of laughter. He actually told Sister E to get lost. What a big face. Bai Wuxia has been taking advantage of his seniority for a long time. Finally, someone can teach him a lesson. I'm so happy. In the vast night sky, Bai Wuxia left in a sorry state. Old Zhang was so evil that he didn't even give him a single screenshot. The consequence of offending the cameraman was that he wouldn't get a single screenshot. For an artist like Bai Wuxia, having no popularity was worse than any form of punishment. Bai Wuxia got into the nanny van, thinking that he had already been humiliated enough. To his surprise, when he turned on his phone, he saw that several entertainment news apps were promoting his scandals. An old actor with good morals and skills? No, he's weak and incompetent. What a coward. Bai Wuxia's car crash. Click on the link below to watch the face-slapping video. Who would have thought that the former Bai Wuxia would turn a blind eye to his plight? Bai Wuxia was so angry that his blood pressure rose. He was furious. How can these reporters write nonsense? Tell them to delete the manuscript. Tell Amen if they don't delete it, I'll sue them. This was creating something out of nothing. It's just a rumor. The assistant trembled. Teacher Bai, something happened. Auntie Jean was Bai Wuxia's loyal fan since his debut. She had also changed from being called Xiao Jean to Auntie Jean. When she found out that Bai Wuxia was participating in the live broadcast she had been watching. In Auntie Jean's eyes, Bai Wuxia had his own filter. He symbolized the beauty of her youthful days of simply liking someone. Therefore, no matter how many loopholes Bai Wuxia made, she could always find a reason to defend herself. When she saw some people saying that there was no evidence to prove that Bai Wuxia did not save her, she suddenly had an idea and thought that she had thought of a wonderful idea. Perhaps, the situation at that time had been filmed by the production team of National Citizen. With the mentality of giving it a try, she relied on her strong ability to find a hacker and get the video of that time. Unexpectedly, after the hacker got the video, the more he looked at Bai Wuxia, the more he disliked him. He even directly exposed the video of Bai Wuxia not saving him. As a result, the video went viral on the internet. This time there was both a witness and a physical evidence. The last bit of face that director Zhu wanted to give Bai Wuxia was completely torn down by this enthusiastic hacker. When Bai Wuxia heard this news, his eyes rolled back and he fainted on the spot. Chapter 474. Mr. Bai, wake up. The assistant was frightened and hurriedly called the emergency number. By the time Bai Wuxia woke up again, the public opinion on the internet had already gone out of control. The video went viral on the internet and every word that Bai Wuxia said in it made people feel uncomfortable both physically and psychologically. Let's stand further away. If Xianxia can't take it, we'll be in trouble. Hey, don't run towards us. The bad guys were targeting the two of them in the first place. Aren't they afraid of implicating us? The netizens were furious. Although they usually liked to bicker and argue on the internet, they were still very clear-headed when it came to major issues. Daily androphobia square root. Is he a man? He looks like a human, but is he speaking like a human? Is he even human? I'm so disgusted by Bai Wuxia that I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. You're a man, how can you have the cheek to watch Sister E charge forward? Forget it if you retreat, but how dare you make sarcastic remarks? Get lost. Bai Wuxia desperately spent money to remove the trending topic, but the comments still appeared one after another, and there was no end to the videos and posts. The public opinion formed an overwhelming wave that quickly slapped Bai Wuxia so hard that he couldn't make a comeback. In the living room, Su Tumi sat cross-legged on the ground and stroked Xiao Naofu with one hand and little Shiji with the other. He was a winner in life. Her belly was round because of the chicken soup, and under the dual healing of food and adorable pets, she was in a much better state. Xianxia came over with pajamas and a towel. The pajamas were made by my second brother, I haven't worn them yet. The towel is also new, it's been washed and dried. Su Tumi grabbed it and smelled the faint floral fragrance on the clothes. Are you afraid of the dark? Do you want me to get you a night light? Xianxia asked. Then she felt someone tugging at the hem of her clothes. Su Tumi blinked and said coquettishly, Sister E, can I sleep with you? Xianxia said, it's not impossible. Oh yeah, that's good. I'll take a shower now. The live stream room was instantly filled with demons. Ah, this sweet and soft CP is going to explode. Jiang Jujio, you there? E, do you still remember me by the Daming Lake? Oh, our sister Yi's harem has grown stronger again. Bestow a perfume pouch, leave a plaque and be conferred the title of imperial concubine. Look closely at the look in Shui's eyes. I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to fall off. Someone hold it for me. Everyone noticed Shui's expression and found that it was indeed very subtle. For a moment the live stream was filled with laughter. There were also untimely CP fans who stubbornly said, so what if you want a harem but our Shui is the real one? The live broadcast ended. Director Zhu's material was almost done. Although Xianxia said that they could stay the night, he still left with the crew. Sister Yi was such a good person. How could she bear to cause trouble for her? Li Jianyu and Wan Qing sent him off. Director Zhu, don't forget about my 3-second shot. Director Zhu laughed and said, of course. Wan Qing expressed her gratitude to him. Thank you for being willing to collaborate with us, Director Zhu, and thank you for helping us inform the overseas version of the review. This is just a token of our appreciation, please accept it. Director Zhu was about to decline, but he heard Li Jianyu say, this is the salted fish and smoked bacon that Sister E made, as well as the spicy rabbit head and sauced beef from Little Rabbit Farm. Ah, who can resist this?